Hello, everybody, and welcome to Stat Check episode 124, Key Performance Vindicators. I hope everybody is having a great time on this fine Tuesday evening as we get ready to talk about some Warhammer. This is, I think, the first normal week we've had in about a month and a half, 2 months since Christmas. It feels like nothing super crazy happened. There was ITT, but there was no massive super majors that everybody was at. There was no, it was just
person team event.
yeah, dude.
Holy
It was
shit, dude.
just a nice quiet weekend.
And it was still a pretty busy weekend. I think we had something like 500 players across 12 events.
Yeah, it was just the biggest event of 2022, and the biggest week of 2022 this weekend in January, or February. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody had a good weekend, is ready to face the week coming, and we are here to talk all things Warhammer. I'm Innes. I'm joined by Jeremy and Anthony, and as always, before we get too deep into things, Anthony, Jeremy, how you been? Kick us off, Jeremy, since I've already heard Anthony's.
I've been doing pretty well. I am kind of tired, but that's just because I'm starting a new role next week, and they decided to throw me around the ringer because they asked me if I wanted to start tomorrow, yesterday, and then yesterday also about 3 hours after I said yes, then said no, start Monday like you're supposed to. And I went. So just kind of been bouncing around the house right now, trying to get everything in order so that we can get all that ready. Yeah,
that makes total sense.
I'm happy to get back into the office and to have something other than 40K and global politics to think about these days.
Into the office, gross.
Anthony, you are very quiet.
Oh, I don't know.
Or you're really loud. It could be one or the other. Let's comparative analysis in chat, guys. Is it me and Jeremy, me and Anthony, or me and Anthony and Jeremy that are volumed weird?
I mean, I can make my mic louder. That's not hard. Fucking get down, chat. This might get crazy.
Well, while Anthony's getting crazy, I'll do mine.
Hello?
Anthony is quiet, is apparently
Hello?
the indicator.
Hello? Is it better now?
It is not better yet.
Yeah, people can't hear Anthony apparently.
I can't hear feels like a strong. I can very much.
Victory. Figured it out.
Were you
Victory?
using the wrong mic?
Maybe.
Don't worry about it.
Classic. I like how I'm the one that joined late. You said you didn't have time for sound check for me, but you clearly didn't sound check
Well,
yourself.
to be fair, I didn't have a comparative analysis. Anthony sounded fine to me because I could only hear Anthony.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, how about yourself? How's your last week or so been? You guys are prepping up for Pyra?
Yes, we are in the Pyra prep trap house, just fucking in the grind, learning stuff, doing things, juggling armies, getting ready to have our Eldar players fucking blow the doors off the place.
What else is new?
You know, I mean, this will be the first year that, no, I was going to make a joke about the Eldar not being played by our captain, but actually, the overwhelming majority of the time, Sean didn't play Eldar, so that doesn't even work. Yeah. It is, just a lot of prep, just a lot of shuffling comps and, pairing preps and compare and contrast and the...
It's weird that you're that worried about a mid-table bully army, though.
I mean, that's how it goes. A bunch of, mid-table bully nations showing up to this event, so we gotta, make sure we perform like the notoriously ever-doubted Swedes. So hopefully they don't just batter us into a grave. I think that'd probably be the team that I would put as the most team to watch going in. Would be the young Swedes.
I mean, if you get battered into the grave, is that so bad as long as you know why?
No, it's always bad. I don't want to get battered at all.
Look, I'm just a mid-table terror team here, so...
I just want to win. Just want to win all the things we attend. That is the goal of playing the team events. Show up, victory.
Yeah, none of the shit about the journey being important. The results are what matter.
No.
Yeah, don't listen to last week's episode at all if you want that.
The journey is how you get to the results. Both are important.
Got it. That makes sense.
But yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to. I love going to Poland. Going to Poland's great. Place is fucking awesome. Little fly into Warsaw, drive to a place with a million fucking consonants that I can't pronounce.
Misjudge.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Unsure if that was just you just cursed at me or actually said the town name. Couldn't tell you. So yeah, that'll be fun. Nothing else super crazy in the pipe. I might run a last minute RTT this weekend. And
Do it.
also just let people play the Guard and Eldar rules. Just fucking go nuts.
That's what Talavera did.
Yep. So
Guard is wild, given that you can't. There's not even like a good source of access to that rules
they
at
have
all.
the Krieg box.
Yeah, but
Just the
Good
book
source
is
of
in front of
access.
you. You could hold the tome.
yeah, that would require Guard players who want to play with the new book actually buying it.
There'll be one at the
Also,
store that I go.
are
to.
the points public for that yet?
I don't know. Kenny keeps
Yeah,
the
because
book
it was in the MFM where they did two
Yeah.
entries. They did the here
Oh, did
is
they?
index, here is what the codex might be. Do not use this for tournaments.
Yeah, they
Weird that they said do not use that for tournaments. Everyone's using it for tournaments.
Rogue State.
Can't imagine that being a problem.
Rogue State keeps a copy of all the books like at the store usually as well. So it's not like I don't need the Guard player to have the rules like at the store.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
and this is the thing. Like most tournament organizers should already have every single code, so you don't even need copies of the book. You just have a tablet that has it, and then if you're using an early release, you just have a PDF scan, and you're good.
Yeah. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. People will show up. They'll play with like the newest version of their rules. It's a fucking RTT. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
it's not like it's a 2-day GT where there's like,
There's
ELO
literally
online
no
or something.
stakes. Someone's gonna get like $100 of store credit at the end of this, and a high five from me. You know, yay! So
And they could use it to buy more field ordnance batteries and mortars.
whatever they want. I don't even care. Go nuts. If Guard even wins. Last time Blood Angels won. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. It's mostly just going to be more of that for the next couple weeks. Rinse and repeat.
No, it makes sense. As for myself, I was at the ITT this weekend playing Host of Ascension Genes Occult, which was great fun. I love my 159 idiots. I put them on the table and I shot 5 people to death. It was great. Highlights include the Keeper's Secrets that was very convinced it was going to live at 7 wounds after I'd finished shooting all my heavy weapons that died to the shotguns. The Gladiator Reaper that fired back at me and killed my unit. Yeah, didn't enjoy that. The Guilliman that didn't stand back up. The Guilliman that didn't die to a 2-up to die in his charge phase. Just all good things. I played against Space Marines 3 times. I played against Guilliman 3 times in a row.
And
It's just
what was
like
the lowest score you got into them?
15 into the Ironstorm with Double Reaper, and then 18 into both the Gladiuses. Yeah.
So you're saying is Ironstorm scarier to you than?
Look, that guy had Double Reaper, and they shoot me back if they don't die, and my Benefixes did not bring their hit goggles. They were like twos all over the place. It was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played Legion of Excess round 1, won that one 15-5, triple keeper. By the end of turn 3, the only thing he had left was 2 keepers and a Plague Bearer unit. I was like, sick, dude. And he draws like containment recover, and I'm like, yep, that's why we did that. And then, the keepers wandered about killing stuff, and that was about it. I think 2 keepers ended the game alive, because why bother? Oh, no, sorry, one of them died to a desperate escape.
Oh.
I wrapped it. I was like, you have 10 attacks, 20 guardsmen, surround, hug. And then they stood there, and then he failed his desperate escape with a reroll.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, chat just completely took me out. Serrano, don't you play Blood Angels? What the fuck are you afraid of Slanesh for? What are we talking about right now, bro?
Guard and Slanesh are stupidly overtuned.
Look, I'll hear you out on Guard. Like, a Scion unit just kill an entire Blood Angels army. No worries. Slanesh? Brother!
Look, I managed to lose to Slanesh in the finals of a Super Major with Blood Angels. Clearly, it's an awful matchup. That's just how that works, right? Anecdotal evidence.
Come on.
Yeah, game 2, we played against Team Norway. I got to play against their team, was Gladius Ultramarines player, and I sat there like, all right, this is gonna be fine. Then I look at it as like, oh, he's playing no Reaper, he's got a Predator instead, and no Infiltrators. This is gonna be really rough. I will shout out the one really fun thing. I love Purge the Foe when you get to go second, because you get to do the dumbest stuff. So I had indirected Uriel, because he had Uriel running solo. Indirected him on turn 1 down to 1 wound. And then on turn 2, I killed him as the only kill that happened that turn to get an 8 and kill more. Yeah, indirect, totally fine. Really cool rule.
Every time, dude.
Every time. It's like strength 6 AP 1 hitting on 5s, still too much somehow. And then I rapid ingressed onto the middle objective with a neophyte squad that he could see with a gun. So he shot it, and then I healed back onto the middle objective because banners are broken. I loved it. It was the day.
But why?
Well, because if he didn't shoot it, I was going to be on it anyway.
But okay, fine.
So, he did some damage. It was great. I stood there anyway. So I got the clean 16 primary on turn 2 by killing one wound model. Just my favorite. Game 3, we played into one of the tryhard teams, Danny Porter's team. I played against double Gladiator Reaper Ironstorm. This was... Yeah, I played the game of just stay away from the Gladiator Reapers and shot them all, and went to the other side of the board, killed everything there, and then came back around and just kept denying in primary and won that one 15-5. I will shout out one of my new true fears in life, and it didn't happen this game because you never really had the opportunity, is a Gladiator Reaper split firing with double oath, with one gun at one target with the big cannon, and then all the other guns at the second one-shotting the first one with Mercy's weakness, and then killing the second one on the repeat if they're both damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the double oath doesn't matter there.
Why wouldn't it matter?
Because I'm pretty sure that the timing on oath...
Surely that's simultaneous.
No, it's
Surely.
It's when the unit's destroyed.
Yeah, but when do you actually check for the oath?
It just says when the unit's destroyed, the second unit becomes your oath target.
I'll be right back.
It didn't happen, but I think that's a question that I have to ask now about how Space Marines work. It definitely felt like it could have happened, mid-activation, and then just 40 dudes just evaporate to a Gladiator Reaper. I kind of want it to be the case because I'm going to go play Golem and Ironstorm a bit again for some RTTs probably, and do that. I want to do that to people, really. I want to play against Horde Orcs and just
everybody's dead. Terrible.
Yeah, everybody I want to kill 40 models in an activation with the Gladiator Reaper. It's really all I want for Christmas,
Is that easier as Ironstorm with Mercy, or is that easier as Gladius with Storm of Fire?
It's got to be easier as Ironstorm with Mercy and Tigene Cult, right? Crit 5s on everything, sure. Crit 5 status on everything versus just the...
Yeah, it's too many extra bullets. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that should be sketchy. Game 4, somehow the fourth team with overnight prep, had not realized to not pair me into Space Marines yet. So we played War Masters, and I got to play against Space Marines, and I got an 18-2 into Gladius. This round is unfortunately the round we drew. Yeah, we ended up drawing this round. We had a 20, an 18, and then they had a 20 and a 20, and then we won the fifth game, 12-8. So we drew dead 50-50 with War Masters. Nassim and Jack Tight both put 40 points on us. Josh and I put an 18 and a 20, and Nathan beat Custodes 12-8. Watching that Death Card list, so our team comp, for anybody who didn't read the NTT list, was Gladius Space Marines, the list Josh had been playing for a while, the triple Vindicator, double Ballistus, Guilliman list. We had my Host of Ascension, 110 Neophytes and stuff list. We had Courtney on Tactical Brigade Orcs with, Tank Busters, Lootas, Breaker Boys, etc. We had Richard Grint from Team Denmark on Chaos Cults, just, doing the psychopath thing with, the 50 Accursed Cultists and a squad of Blood Crushers, because something's got to make a gap for you to go through on these UKTC boards, because there's no inch from the wall ruling. And then we had Nathan on 12 Hull plus Mortarion Death Guard, which is my favorite pure dumbass list, because it's just Mortarion, 5 Predators, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 3 Bloat Drones, and 20 Cultists, 2x10, and that's it. And it screens with whatever the worst one is in this matchup. It's just are you infantry and in front of me? Sorry, you don't get to be. Are you a big thing? Stop it. Get some help.
I fucking hate that the UK keeps developing shit like this. Harrison's Ironstorm list, this fucking nonsense. Stop. Change the UKTC format until stuff like this stops coming out of that island. Enough.
But you know that it's not going to be adjusted. It's not sticking to the UKTC format as well.
Leave me alone.
Don't you just love Plague Storm?
Plague Storm.
And then obviously, Mortarion's got to ignore modifiers aura, so you're just what's that Slanesh demon listed in front of you? What if it wasn't anymore?
Yeah. By the way, since I just finished reading through the whole thing, and also thank you, Jay, in chat. I don't actually know which Jay that is, but he says that he plays in...
I don't know.
Check with one of the Poland WTC judges. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Good.
Because
Thank God.
The wording on Oath is when you make an attack that targets your Oath of moment. And since it's target of an attack, you then check the condition rule, and the condition rule says you have to be eligible when you choose. So no split firing into one Oath target, killing it, and getting your rerolls into the second one.
just because I said it was my one fear doesn't mean that I was correct in it being my
Well,
one fear.
I mean, it could still be a fear.
Yeah. Right. I've tweaked my volume down a little bit and see if that fixes anything, but it's still looking pretty loud. But if anybody, my input volume is at 3%, so we'll see how that goes. And then round 5, I finally got to play against something different. We paired Team Scotland, which was an interesting experience. I played against Ryan, who was playing Creations of Bile, and I won that one 16-4. I got to do the good old run at them, realize they have no guns, start wrapping rhinos with cultists. It was great. Bile and his friends just staying inside rhinos. It was great. Killing possessed, overrated.
God,
didn't
dude.
kill those.
Every time someone gets trapped in a rhino, it makes me fucking scream. It's like, please just get out. Just get out of the fucking box.
But if he had been outside the box, I'd have shot him with the guns, you see?
But be behind the walls then. Just stand somewhere the fuck else.
UKTC boards? Where? There isn't behind the walls.
God,
UKTC boards are definitely a trip for that.
They're not even that bad for fast melee. UKTC boards, you just have to be... God, it's so fucking frustrating.
I got to do the rapid ingress into firing with the Primus unit to get double activation of its lethal hits, all that good stuff. All my favorite things.
Yeah.
I did end up only getting a 15 because my unit squad that was going to go back and reserve Battle Shock to Noise Marines. Didn't love that.
Oops.
That's hilarious. Get fucking wrecked.
Shout out to the Possessed squad that I think I charged with 7 units of 5 over the course of the game. It never successfully one-shot one. It was just 3 dead, 2 dead. It was always a Ridge Runner and 5 dudes. So 2 dudes would hit me and just killed 3, and I'm like, that's not all of them. You don't leave. That just kept happening.
Dude, I've had so many times I've had Possessed be like, all right, boys, there's still 8 of you. I need you to kill 7 Skitari.
No. Absolutely
you can do this. All 32 of you. You're gonna get in there and swing those tentacles around and take down the robot men. And they're like, but boss, he's -1 to hit. 6 hits. I'm like, no, you idiots! God damn it!
He did hit weapon skill strength, which was pretty good into me. But...
That's a good set of buffs, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trick with Bile, right? Is every game your opponent's pissed. You roll your buffs, you hit basically any 2, and they're like, oh man, those are so good into me. And you're like, yeah, dude, they are. You just keep moving they...
For what it's worse, I've never had anyone hit ballistic skill just at all into me. So.
Oh, man. See, I am God's gift to rolling the ballistic skill initially and then re-rolling that shit right into a double. So, one of these days...
even once seen it happen. No one has ever not had 2 buffs with neither of them being ballistic skill.
Wow, I'm so jealous. I spent most of that GT that I got a perfect 100 at with 1 buff for 3 of the games.
Yeah, I would simply kill for that. The only other truly funny thing that happened in that game was the Warp Talon squad just getting he had 5 Warp Talons. I just shelled them for a turn, and then he walked into range of the Saboteur and they just died. It was great. It's no, stop. You don't get to have those in this matchup. The one thing I can't deal with is that unit existing, so it didn't get to. So yeah, that was it. That was ITT. It was a really good fun event. It was nice we definitely did not take it super seriously, but we also were really gutted to draw around 4. We didn't put a ton of prep in. We were just kind of hey, let's just bring the 5 list we want to play. But also, the second that we did that, we were like, maybe we should have prepped a little more.
Dude, that's my
great
nightmare.
We're just not physically capable of it.
Yeah, that's my great nightmare. Every time we go to a team event, I don't even pretend anymore. I'm we're just going to take it seriously and not be pissed when if something happens.
We weren't even pissed. We were just War Masters played well. They deserve the draw.
But that's what happens, right?
We're not grumbling for a reason, because even if we had prepped more, there's no guarantee that gets better when we don't bring the same lists.
But you wouldn't have that feeling, right?
Could have.
Well, you should have just stolen some of Nassim's models.
Nothing.
No, to be fair, if you take Nassim's battle ready points away, we still don't win the round. So.
No, just 2 units of science just disappear.
I'm not sure that stops him.
Yeah, he would just find some. He would go out to the car park with like a dustpan and brush and just scrape shit off the floor until he's got 30 things to put on the table as scions.
Yeah.
It's just like this plastic army man. This bottle top is the plasma gun. Like that's how Nas's shit looks anyway. So
Oh, don't be that mean to him.
That
no, you're right. It looks at least all that stuff would be fully painted.
Yeah. That exact experience you're talking about is like my personal nightmare. Every event, I'm like, did I fuck this up? Did I not prep enough? Am I going to be mad in a bit? I'm like, win, lose, or draw is fine, whatever. But I know for a fact the only way I'll be pissed or like upset is if I'm like, I just didn't try and then I lost and now I'm mad that I lost.
Like we took Derek seriously. Like, we were happy with our comp. We just like didn't know life it, right? That's all it was.
I'm sure you tried once you got there.
Yeah, it's also a couple things that are worth saying here. This round is Burden of Trust, which is just a war crime in general. Don't play Burden of Trust, quite frankly. If you're playing a tournament and you put Burden of Trust in the pack, just tell your players you don't love them. It's okay. They'll understand. They make us play round 1 Terraform Sweeping Engagement and round 4 Burden of Trust, and I quite simply hate them. Just fundamentally, they're the worst.
I think I would have went up to the team that I was about to play and just been like, if it's taken hold, no one knows, right? Just us 10. Just saying.
I think both teams would probably go for that.
Almost certainly.
It's also diff, so it's not like the higher battle points that are going to be scored in that game are going to matter.
Yeah.
But the other funny thing is, we paired War Masters that round, and Ignite paired No Name, which is the French-Belgian team. So they also drew. So we managed to, in one fell swoop, knock all of ourselves out of the tournament in round 4.
So basically, the top 4 teams that could have won the event just decided no.
Yeah, I would have said with reasonable confidence that that was 4 of the top 5 teams at the tournament, and yeah, we all just drew. It's like
I'm definitely leaning into Brian's. I think Zach manly paired that round.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
So we were sitting there, like we were looking at it. I was like, "There's an outside chance that if if 2 of the top 4 teams draw, or like the 4 undefeated teams left, and Ignite or No Name or us smash our round, we can scrape in on tie breaks." Was our one last out, and none of them drew. So No Name finished 3rd, we finished 5th, Ignite finished 4th, and War Masters drew their last round with Team Sigil and came 6th or 7th, I think. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, I'll be right back again. My wife just
walked. Okay, I thought you had a question. No, we could raise our hands like it was school here if we wanted to.
I mean,
so crazy finish for ITT. Congratulations to Mind Goblins and Vanguard Tactics for making the finals.
I love that Mind Goblins is a big team, dude. It's the best.
It's the worst.
It's so good.
Yeah, I wanted to give I wanted to give Vanguard shit because I was just like, I remember back to this event last year, Vanguard, like we beat them round 1. It was like fine, like they were in the finals. I'm like, rah. But they also put a bunch of work in and improved their team a bunch. So I don't want to give them shit, but I want to give them shit. So I'm going to fuck those guys.
As it turns out, getting better is a son of a bitch, dude.
I know, right? How dare they?
They probably also cared about the event before it started. Which is,
seems unlikely given
imagine.
Like of the top, like half of us were at LVO. We were all just like, do we have to do this one?
You didn't have to.
Yeah, we kind of did. I got asked. I wasn't going to say no.
That's different.
That's true. Trying to think if there's anything other crazies. Shout out to No Name for playing Scotland B round 1 while they were all hungover and winning 98-2. We all got scammed on the travel down. There were massive train delays. The Scotland B team ended up getting in at 4 a.m. and then having to play No Name round 1. Just what do we do to deserve this shit?
That's pretty funny.
It was pretty rough. I felt very bad for them. Not Bruce though. Bruce should know better. Love you, really, Bruce. So yeah, that's been my my last week or so. I was obviously on last week, so I don't have to do a full catch up. But let's move on to the meat and potatoes. Jeremy, would you like to talk about the stats for the week?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So it was. I joked it's a quiet weekend, but we said at the beginning of the episode, this is the average size of a weekend from 2022 when we started doing this. And this is probably going to be one of the quietest
Don't
weekends.
say it like that. That makes us sound old.
We are old. Look, I've got years on both of you, but still, going to make you feel old with every passing moment. The inexorable march of time waits for no man. Anyways, speaking of inexorable march, the top faction this weekend was Demons. 34 players, 6.8% of the meta, a 63.2% win rate, 3 event wins, 7 top 4s, and a 2.16 over-rep. Does anyone want to guess what Demons were running?
I still think Slaanesh are bad.
Is it?
They may be, but the 15 players that played Legion of Excess managed a 77.6% win rate.
Yeah, okay, fine. They're probably okay.
The 2 detachments that managed sub 50% for Chaos Demons, there is 1 Brave Soul who ran Blood Legion and won 1 of their 3 games. And there were 4 people who ran Scintillating Legion and won 38.9% of the games. Plague Legion is perfectly balanced at 50%, and Demonic Incursion even is at 53% for the weekend.
I have no way to reconcile what Slaanesh is doing to people with my experiences playing it.
Into your army, or your armies.
Has the dashboard been updated yet?
Games that
No,
I just
it
like
has not, because
pop
I was
into.
just finishing this up
That's fair.
as I was getting into the call.
I'm just gonna have a look at the Chaos Demon stats for opponent elo percentile just to get a feel for it for myself.
Yeah. Deathwatch was the second highest win rate, but there was only 6 players, so we're just not going to count them. They also didn't win anything. Tau was the second winningest faction, 3.6% of the meta, a 55.7% win rate. No event wins, but 4 top 4s, making for a 2.3 over rep. Okay, this weekend just doesn't make sense. Imperial Knights was the third army.
Dude,
12
they keep
players,
doing good.
2.4% of the meta, 55.6% win rate, 1 top 4, 0.87 over rep. Then we have Grey Knights, 13 players, 2.6% of the meta, and a 54% win rate. Also no event wins, but 2 top 4s for a 1.6 over rep. And rounding out that top 5 is Thousand Sons, with 11 players, 2.2% of the meta, a 54% win rate, and 1 top 4 for a 0.95 over rep.
I genuinely thought you were going to say a 54% over rep, and I was like, what is happening?
That's how that works. So sometimes the meta stats conspire to make me feel like I don't understand Warhammer very much.
All right. In the bottom 5, at the very bottom is Imperial Agents because no one played them this weekend, which is
Good job, community. Well
first
done,
in a
guys.
while, I think. There's usually been at least 1 or 2.
They have a straggler, yeah.
Sisters was the worst army in the game, but they only had 6 players, but they did have a 28% win rate, so
That's pretty bad.
It's not good.
pretty bad. Then the actual first one that had more than 10 players was Space Wolves with 13 players, 2.6% of the meta, a 32% win rate. No wins, no top 4s. So a 0 on overrep. Following that was
As it should be.
Aeldari. All of it old index because Codex comes out Saturday. They had a 4% meta representation, a 37% win rate, no event wins, no top 4s, no top 10s even. I expect this will change very rapidly in the next couple weeks.
That seems likely.
Skipping over the next 2 because they were less than 10, but Black Templars and Leagues of Votann are sitting down there. Chaos Space Marines with 26 players, 5% of the meta, had a 44.2% meta win rate. However, they did have 1 event win, which also made up their 1 top 4, and then they had 4 top 10s for a 0.4 over rep. Sitting just barely above them, the fake Chaos Space Marines, Dark Angels, 24 players, 4.8% of the meta, a 44.6% win rate. They also won 1 event, but they had an additional top 4, so they had an over rep of 0.87. And rounding out the bottom 5, you have Orcs, 28 players, 5.6% of the meta, a 47% win rate. No event wins, but they did manage 2 top 4s for a 0.75 over rep.
Was every good orc player at ITT? Strong signs point to maybe, because there were a lot of them at ITT.
Well, out there, yes, but yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Were all the good orc players just at ITT and not playing?
Oh, okay, that's true. I guess America doesn't have any good orc players.
I think that Eldar is going to look a lot like Orcs. Where they have weeks where some of their pilots are busy and their stats are not very good.
I don't know about that.
That's my current stance. I think
I think there's going to be a lot of people standing 4 aspect warrior squads in the opening getting smashed.
I think there's
fair.
I think for the first couple of weeks, even Eldar not going to be that crazy. I think it's going to take people a little bit to be like, oh.
I would still say that they're
don't
probably going to be higher than a
stand in the
37% after this, after the codex comes out.
For sure. I think they'll be closer to like the 50 mark.
What was
initially.
Tactical Brigade's individual win rate?
Like 55 or some shit.
Tactical
That's what it
Brigade
usually is.
Orcs. It had a 51.7% win rate. It was one of only 2 above 50%. The other one was the Big Hunt.
So far, it was like 50% higher than Orcs average.
Not quite. Orcs were like 46.
Oh, short in the 40s.
I
So 10%
genuinely
higher.
would not be surprised if that was true. It lets them shoot, which makes all the people that are normally not very good at orcs interested and better at orcs, right?
And all the
Yeah,
Orc players who are, not overly invested, not even touch them.
Sure, yeah, exactly, which keeps the overall win rate down. I think that like Eldar have a much higher ceiling than basically anything in the game is possible of because of what they can do. But I don't know that like even the majority of like high level pilots will reach that in the first like couple of weeks.
Yeah, I could see that. Because people are always asking world leaders, Berserk, they had a 51% win rate this weekend, but Berserker Warband had a 57% win rate, while Vessels of Wrath had a 35% win rate.
Thanks, Vessels. Every faction needs their dives.
What are the dies for Necrons right now? Oh yeah, that would be Canoptic and Hypercrypt, apparently.
I mean, if you hit, I don't know, that's one of those like self-selecting things, right? Where it's like, I'm
Yeah,
playing
like
these 'cause
Awakened
I
and
want
Star
to at
Shatter are
this
doing
point.
perfectly well.
Yeah.
Like high 50s, but... Oh, and of course, that's why Votann's especially low. One, there was only 8 players, but one of those brave players decided to bring Hearthband.
Hell yeah, dude. That's going to be you in a month, Jeremy. We're going to make you.
No.
Yeah, you'll love it.
No.
You love it.
I feel like every time Jeremy plays an event not on Votann, he just like, he looks at the Zerkers on his shelf, calling to him like the Green Goblin mask. He's just like, why did I stop doing this? What the fuck was I thinking?
I did have fun at LVO with Ironstorm.
Yeah, but do you think you might have had more fun as Votann? Probably.
No, because I got to make a lot of people sad with my Gilman conversion.
That's fair.
That's also true. And you did pretty well at LVO, to be fair.
Yeah, like I'm quite happy with my performance there, and I was also just in a really good headspace. But yeah, I will probably be on Votann again because they're solid and they're a good defender, and I know that army insanely well.
It's nice and comfy.
It's a
you know
very
all 3
comfy
data
army.
sheets.
Come on, I bring like 5.
That doesn't sound right.
I mean, it's more than I take in World Leaders usually. If you count 8-bound as 1.
All right. Anything else people are interested on the stat side? But it's just been kind of about the same. Like we've got the number of underperformers have definitely been growing. Like if we look at since basically the beginning of this year, fucking demons at a 57%. Yeah, like if we look since the beginning of this year, there's only 2 factions outside of the balance window, which is demons at 57% and sisters at 40.9.
So nerf demons into the ground, buff sisters.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Imperial agents are still sitting at a 55.3, but that's only 7 players, so they're not real.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing is that there are only a handful of armies that haven't won an event yet, and we're only like 5 weeks into the year.
Progress.
That's kind of cool. Who's not won an event?
Agents. Drukhari, Death Guard, Votann, Thousand Sons, Admech, Eldari, Black Templars, and Sisters.
That's like a third of the factions. It's still quite a few for being 5 weeks in.
It's definitely quite a few. But at the same time, like if I'm looking at like on the grand scheme of things, the only real outlier is Demons with 9 event wins.
So what's the top 5 for event wins at the moment?
Demons with 9, Necrons with 6, Space Marines with 6, Orcs with 6, Guard with 4, also tied with Custodes, and CSM with 4.
CSM, dude. It's the heroes faction. Big event wins, low win rate.
Yeah. CSM are like the balanced army, 46% win rate, 4 event wins, and a .93 overwhep.
I love them so much, dude.
Them and Custodes actually are just kind of the two ends of that, because Custodes have a slightly higher win rate and a slightly higher overrep, but they're still just like right at that 50 band.
Yeah. CSM's the best, dude. For every 2 people you get playing Renegade Raiders, you got 5 bullet catchers on Fellhammer.
Look, Mike Pestilence is making Fellhammer work, and I'm convinced that he's gaslighting a lot of people to stay the course.
Mike can make that work though, because he's a good player and knows what the hell he's doing with it.
Mike is my personal hero.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will play Chaos factions so long as Mike Pestilence makes content for them, because he is a goddamn genius.
He is slowly dragging me over to the Chaos side. His article on not quite but definitely Disciples of Be'lakor was hilarious.
Yep.
And someone out there is going to get gaslit into running it because of him and keeping that win rate down, so that Anthony's keep Mike Pestilence is on Anthony's payroll to keep him in armies for WTC.
Dude, I'm gonna start paying him, man. Be like, we're gonna crank out a Vessels of Wrath article once a week until WTC's patch.
No, that's Josie's writing.
Whoever needs to do it.
Josie needs to just highlight again, this is how well I did.
I think Mike P might have more of a platform, but that's fair.
You guys should all play Vessels.
Like they write the article and Mike publishes it.
Sure. Look,
guest author, undefeated Vessels of Wrath at the ITT.
Whatever you want. Whatever gets more Vessels lists in circulation. Particularly if they're going to be at events I'm at. That would be optimal.
I will agree with that.
I read Josie's Vessels list to like off topic, and I definitely did read it and go, this is like 70 wounds of stuff total. How is this doing anything? But she definitely did score 94 points with it, so power to her. But
I'm sure it's great. I think lots of people should play it. I think it should see widespread adoption, particularly over
I hate you so
brand.
much. I hate you so much. You absolute degenerate.
What's the problem?
I'm just sitting here imagining you as a Marine player telling everyone they should stop playing Gulliman so that
he
he
sucks.
doesn't get nerfed.
Also, no one should ever use Fuegan. Unrelated. He's bad in the new book. Don't touch him. That's it. That's all I got. That's all my advice today.
Thank you for your input,
I would like
Mr. Vanilla.
to petition for Fuegan to go up about 40% in points.
I think they should charge you per life. I think that's how Fuegan
You can
work.
pay points and you only get the 1 life, or you can pay it an extra bit and then that 2 up always rolls.
Yeah.
Reinforcement points, baby. Bring them back.
If only.
Do you remember bringing 85 points extra for an assassin that you could tailor at the beginning of every game?
I mean, that wasn't even reinforcement points. That was just spend 2 CP.
And you had to have 85 points. You could change the assassin if you brought it in your list, but...
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, I just put it in my list, and then if I didn't need to, that was the one that I took.
Oh, you are probably... I think you are alone in that.
Before my time.
Okay, what are we doing for our topic of the week? What's got everyone feeling feelings? Chat, spit some shit out. No, none of us really have anything this week, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, Chad. I have a GT in a week and a half, and I have no idea what I want to play.
I think Votann, you've just told us that...
Yeah, what the fuck? You walked right into that. Play Oathbound, dude. Go nuts.
No. Wait.
Oathbound's the good one.
Yeah, I was going to say Oathbound's the good one.
You don't want to you want to play Oathbound? Dude, you just confirmed it.
No. I knew what Anthony was trying to do and just...
I think you should play Hearthband and write a scathing review of how terrible it is so that it gets buffed in the future.
I mean, it'd be fucking hilarious if he took it and went 4-1 anyway. Just like blew people off the board.
Just think how good content that would be, Jeremy. It'd be such a good article.
I mean, how bad is it really?
Do it for stat check and we'll expense your ticket.
Dude, into a bunch of armies
Joke's
right
on
now.
you. It didn't cost me anything because it's one of the events that my local group runs.
Yeah, see? There we go. Free value.
Playing on house money, dude.
All right, let's actually talk through what the hell Hearthband does then, so we can establish just how bad this is.
I think you just put 30 Terminators in it and close your eyes for the rest, right? The rest is just like trash insect.
As many Berserkers as you can fit.
Okay.
Right?
So still have the army roll, which is the token generation. So every time I lose a unit, the unit that killed it gets a token.
Yep. No natural tokens in this detachment.
No natural tokens in this detachment because Oathband gives you the 4 initial ones. or 4 sets of 2, which is one of the reasons that that army is still playable. So your detachment rule is Methodical Annihilation. Each time a Leagues of Votann model from your army makes an attack with a weapon, excluding blast weapons, that targets the closest eligible target or a target that is within engagement range of that model's unit, you can reroll a hit roll of 1.
30% ship it.
That's pretty good.
If your unit is a Call, Einar Hearthguard, or Uthar the Destined unit, improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1.
Dude,
30
what are we
players,
talking about?
30% ship it, bro.
Those are good rules.
And the stratagems are actually not bad.
So what is the problem?
What are we talking about?
The problem is no initial token generation, and I'm a BS4 and weapon skill 4 army, and Death Guard exists.
But you have rerolls now. Who plays
Against
Death
the
Guard?
closest.
Who plays Death Guard? What are we talking about? You're gonna be
Not a real
fine.
army. I've never seen a Death Guard in my life.
Hilariously, I'm 0-2 into them in my last 2 events with Votann, so...
Death Guard are pretty good, shockingly. Guys, is -1 save army-wide a good rule?
I don't think so.
Yes, thank you, Melody. Give all these fools a grudge token.
I
So
think
the
you
first
could do
stratagem
it.
you have
He needs to wait
is...
until he dies.
Basically, I can give a Call, Uthar the Destined, or in her Hearthguard unit a 4-up invuln in either shooting or melee. Which that's
Seems
actually quite good. But Hearthguard already have a 2-up save, so it's very rare that you're actually...
Better than new AOC.
Yes, because it actually does last to the end of the phase. And in the fight phase, I can get 6-inch consolidates, and it's any unit.
It's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
Superior craftsmanship, it's any unit in melee. I get +1 damage against monsters and vehicles.
Dude!
Damage 4 Hearth Berserks.
I know. I keep looking at this and going, I really wish if I could attach calls to
I really wish
berserks.
Votann players weren't bitches. This difference sounds great.
And then unyielding aggression, I can an infantry unit. I can fall back, shoot and charge. So because currently Hearthband or Oathband has it on any unit for
But
one.
you're not going to run any non-infantry. What are we doing?
I mean, at this
Oh.
point, yes, but
You might.
materialization matrices. I can have a 6-inch deep strike, but I can't charge.
Sick.
Okay, that's not great, but
It's okay.
And then the last one, I can give a Hearthguard unit rapid fire, but not on their blast weapons.
That's a weird rule.
That's a stupid.
I mean, it gives their
rule,
plasma rapid fire, which is kind of cool.
I guess.
But
But
everything else is like,
oh, this is where I get sad.
okay.
Bastion Shield. Each time a ranged attack targets the bearer's unit, if the attacking model is within 12, reduce the AP by 1. Now, in the world where Bridgehead exists, this is actually very fun.
Seems pretty solid.
Quake multi-generator. After the bearer has shot, you select an enemy unit excluding Titanic that was hit. Until the start of your next turn, the enemy is suppressed. When a unit is suppressed, they're -1 to hit.
All right, Jeremy. I wrote you a list.
Oh, no.
I'm putting it in our backstage for you.
Iron Sky.
To read it anyway.
I get the bearer gets +2 wounds. And then
Good.
High Call, 4-up fight on death on a call model.
Yeah, that seems bad.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Bastion Shield's the only one that's even worth looking at, and
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
25
whoa.
points.
That 4-up fight on death is for his unit, isn't it?
No, it's just for him.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
No. Each time a bear.
Oh, no, model on the bear's unit. Okay, never mind. It is better.
Boom. Decent. Nailed it.
30 points for...
You could have 30 Terminators, 30 Berserks, and 40 of those models have fight on death.
All right, what did he just make for me? Okay, so...
Dude, it's beautiful. It's perfect. Flawless. Don't
Anthony
look at the
gave me a
word
list
here. I
called
didn't do any
Jezza,
of
which
that.
is classic. We've got ourselves... It is Hearthband. We've got
Don't
an
look
Iron
at- wait.
Champion.
Real quick. Don't look
Yeah.
at any of the war gear. That's fake. Just assume everything has the war gear that does not
I'm
suck.
not looking at work gears because I know you don't know Votann work gear.
Yep. Nailed it.
Champion with the +2 wounds, another champion, a call with the AP reduction, and then another call. 10 warriors, a single Sagittar, 2 big bricks of berserks. Jesus, that could be fun. 10 Hearthguard, and then 2 land forts. Jesus.
Let's go. Put the angry men in the big boxes. Put the little dudes that score points in the little boxes. Terminators in the sky. Ship it. That's a 3-2 list at worst.
Pick off one of the Iron Heroes for a Jaeger squad and go nuts.
That probably makes sense.
Doesn't quite fit.
I mean, you just take less enhancements that don't matter.
Yeah, you
I
take
just was
the-
trying to fill points. And
Yeah,
this
you
is
probably
on to me.
you probably drop the Bastion Shield, and then the Iron Hero, and then one of the Iron Hero champs.
It has caught me right away. He was like, cut one of the dudes, and I was like, fuck, he's gonna know.
Although the Bastion Shield, no bikes makes me sad too.
Dude, this is not meant to be great. This is trying.
No,
we're trying
but
to
this
take
is me.
advantage
This
of
I'm
the-
looking at this and I'm kind of going, I could do
Free
this,
ticket
but this,
to a
but
GT.
this.
You're not allowed to try that hard.
James McLeod puts a good point. They give your army reroll ones not on blast, and the army that wants 30 Terminators with blast weapons.
It's only 20. It's only 20 blast weapons.
It's only
Yeah, but
20
it's
bucks.
still like,
It is a weird anti-synergy.
yeah. I mean, this is clearly written with the Codex in mind, because like having no token interaction whatsoever seems really weird. Kind of like Vessels.
I mean, Vessels does a bunch of stuff that interacts with things that make sense. It's just not a very good army.
Yeah, I guess Vessels does actually directly interact with the blessings.
Yeah, Vessels is just like, hey, do you want to play Berserker Warbound, but be better at gaslighting ranged armies? Dude, we got a detachment for you right here.
Actually, I guess a better comparison would be the Hex Warp Thrallband, the other one that chat
That
joked
one is
about me
just
playing.
like, what happened here? None of these rules make any sense with what we're
I mean, we'll
currently
know in
doing.
the next couple
What
months
is this?
or 3 months ish.
Do you want +1 to wound on your army that has that? Or
No, it's
do you want
rerolls.
to-
It's
No,
even
it's
worse.
re-rolls, and then if you happen to be inside, you lose the re-rolls and still get +1 to wound, which is that might.
What?
I remember when I was sitting down with TJ to talk about that, and he didn't notice that it was instead. He thought you got both when you were in your zone, and if you got both when you were in your zone, that would actually be quite good.
What I want now is like Star Shatter, but like you get assault, and then if you're targeting an opponent on objective, you get +1 to hit, but you lose the assault.
Yeah, there it's either. So you can't advance and shoot at things on objectives.
Yeah, that's what I want. I think that's how all these rules
That would
should work.
solve the strength of that army real quick.
Yeah. Look, Jeremy, I think you should play this list. I think you could do a lot worse.
I will put this list on the table once, or I'm going to make the change where I put Jaegers in here. Although I guess
I think that's acceptable.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
yeah,
You should play it against Francois playing Endless Swarm.
We will allow it.
Partially so that Francois has to play Endless Swarm. Partially because I think you'll dome that.
Yeah, I mean, the first time that he played Unending Swarm, I was playing 10 Terminators, and
Boom.
I fucked up my
Prophetic.
activations. It got tagged, and my Terminators got tagged before they could activate, and then we re-racked and played it again, and he never was able to come close again because
That
it
makes
was
sense.
just rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking mission objective survived, right?
Yeah.
What else is vaguely interesting that's going on? How much have we seen of the new Eldar between us?
Dude, I mean, just fucking so much. Like, I
Yeah, I
feel like
played-
I do nothing but watch Eldar games these days, it feels like.
Not having the privilege of doing that, but I've been playing into them a fair bit, and I don't know. They definitely seem strong.
I just think it's going to take people a couple weeks to learn how to play them. That's my stone take.
You
That's just
do
like-
do a lot of things in your turns. There's a lot of activation while I activate to activate while I activate.
Yeah, like, I think that a lot of the initial reports I saw on Eldar were a lot of, like, I think I have a pretty good matchup into Eldar baked on this practice game I played. And I would be like, hey, how many aspects died in that practice game that you played on turn 1 before they got to move? And they'd be like, oh, like 4. And I'd be like, I think that when that doesn't happen, this might get more challenging. And with each passing week, the scores into Eldar have gotten lower and lower and lower and lower. And that I foresee to be a trend in the wider world as the builds get figured
Broadly
out.
matches weapon as well. A lot of the early games with it were very close. A lot of the later games with it, not as much.
Not so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been
I
noticing
think
that as
I'm
well because I
doing
played
that.
against 3 different people with it. One who it was their first game with Eldar, one who it was their like 10th game, and
Yep, just each rep. I made a joke to one of our players. I was like, with each rep, you master the use of one aspect squad, and one alone.
and once you've mastered 3 of them, you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, and once we're 4 to 5 to 6 reps deep of doing that. Boom.
Floof with the best attitude on this. They say, I haven't played the Eldar Codex yet, which is the exact amount of Eldar I want to play.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get a
I
ton
wish
of
that were me.
complaining from people on the team about having to play Eldar mirrors. And what they're going to be like, oh, it's the worst to play. And what they're not going to realize is that it's not the fact that it's the Eldar mirror. It's the fact that they have to play against Eldar that sucks.
Yeah, it's different than every other mirror, because most every other mirror, those armies are pleasant to play into.
Yes. Except for the World Eater mirror. Oh, God, that's
Have you ever played a cult mirror, Jeremy? I can't promise that that's an interaction that you'll enjoy.
I feel like a cult mirror would be pretty... Oh, now it's deterministic, at least. Like, you're making choices and
It
doing
was
things.
a lot worse before. It's
Yeah,
still
I
rough.
did play the host mirror once, and it was very unpleasant.
Bridgehead mirror is not fun. from what
Yeah,
I'm
but those two
told.
deserve each other.
They do.
That's the same thing as the Eldar mirror. They're like, oh, this is so unfun.
Yeah, because does
Like,
anyone
yeah, bro,
actually enjoy
play-
playing into Bridgehead?
Yeah.
I think that's the T-Suns mirror as well. Like,
Same
it's the
thing.
T-Suns mirror isn't complicated. It's just you have to play against T-Suns.
Yeah.
I kind of like the T-Suns mirror.
If the Necron's mirror sucks, I don't understand that. Necron's
I have
super
to
fun
imagine
play
the
against.
Necro mirror is like the most fun because both of you are just like getting the perfect like exemplar of what your armies have to do, which is not die. Because you imagine like a Canoptic Court mirror match, you're just like, yeah, dude. And then none of my stuff died the entire game. It was the best.
Dude, I love playing against Necrons. It is so fun.
Don't read that out loud.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
World Eater's mirror is not 4K. It's exaggerated chess.
That's not even true. The World Eater's mirror is a fucking nightmare. Between
It's just
4-up
pointless.
Fight on Death and Angron reses, no one's in charge in a World
It's a
Eater's
pure
mirror.
dice game.
Dude, we got super lucky at WTC that we played against Denmark, who had a World Eaters player whose list name was literally like, I stole this from Vanilla or something like that. And we were like getting into the scrum, and like me and him were both active, and I like leaned forward to John, and I was like, there's not a man alive brave enough to play me in the World Eaters mirror. But if they offer it, I need you to understand that I and him are not in charge of what happens in this game. There is no world where any amount of skill diff that I can express over this man matters at all. So just accept that going in, that this is a pairings tool that no one's going to take, but if they do, it's going to get wacky fast.
Sorry, I gotta go. I'll be right back.
There was a World Eaters mirror at Home Nations last year in Ireland, and they both sat there at the start of the game and looked at each other and were like, do you want to take a break for 90 minutes and then come back and see what's going on to decide if we play or sit in our deployment zone?
I mean, I would never do it that way, but yeah, I get it.
And they both just were like, yeah, okay. And then they just like waited, and it was like, do you have to push? Yeah. And then I had to go for it and just got fucking.
Yeah. I last year during the like Team USA prep cycle, we played a scrim against Ignite, and our World Eaters list was like, you know, playing my World Eaters list. It wasn't me though. Like the MOE and card and this and that. And I think Boris was playing them for Ignite, and he was playing like a no Angron, no MOE max 8-bound. So they got to the point where they were like deploying, and Boris was just like, hey man, you mind if I just like practice some sisters or something else instead? This seems like it's gonna go really bad. And then the other guy was like, no, just beat him across the ground, because it was just like, what are you supposed to do about the MOE with 18 8-bound? Fucking die, I guess. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Hope you roll like a fucking beast, I guess.
No Angron either. The mirror is like, no.
Yeah, that was Matt Robertson's list at the time. It was it's a solid list.
Dude, I'm sure it was good into stuff that wasn't the mirror, but it was certainly not very good in the mirror.
Yeah, it makes sense. What else has been like interesting happening recently? I'm ordering an Eldar army. I hate it, but I'm doing it.
I think it's time, dude. I think it's time for you to you know, you've had a year off of being captain. It's time for you to grab the mantle and as don it as the new generation of the eternal God King Eldar captains of Europe. And you can lead Liam.
It'll just be for the stat check individual teams, stat check solo event teams. Now.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, someone's got to be our captain for BFS once like the event actually starts. I'm just getting us to the event, so
That's fair. We let Josh captain for this weekend, and the team name was so ass because none of us could agree on anything that wasn't going to get Josh fired.
Fair.
So we ended up with like total 40k. It was awful.
Man, nice,
So we need to
dude.
work harder. We need to pick a team name for
that's
BFS still, I think.
it's just gonna be stat check, bro.
Oh,
It's
we
gonna be
just
the same thing it always is. Yeah.
That's fair. Will the stat check team take bribes at BFS? Ben, I will let you score 1 diff point for every 100 Butterfingers delivered
Don't do that. We're gonna end up with such
to
an
a cap of 200 Butterfingers.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say we're gonna end up with an unreasonable amount of Butterfinger, so Art of War can try and get at least 20 points against us.
No, it's only if he plays me specifically. He has to bring the Butterfingers to bribe me specifically. If he happens to not play me, he gets nothing. But
damn, yeah.
If they manage to pair
tough.
that, I'll give them the one for every 100 Butterfingers. Because Dan gave me 144, so full size Butterfingers, at least the size Dan gave me.
Yep.
Dan 144 off of Dan, Ben. That's your skill, your track to beat.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to BFS. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll
be great.
We'll be done moving by then as well. Like it'll be a lot more chill in general.
Yeah, I need to figure out my plans for that event because I'm coming over probably going to come over on the Thursday with Nos and just decide how long I'm going to stick afterwards.
Sure.
Because I don't have anything in May, which is nice, so I don't actually have to rush home.
Yeah.
Just super cool. So yeah, we're kind of at a point of like, figure it out because my April is super busy. I have Toronto teams in Canada, and it starts first week of April. 2 weeks later is Home Nations, and 2 weeks later is BFS. Just like bam, 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 but BFS is the last one. So it's like, and then back to chill for like a couple weeks before I do Eurotrash and Super Major in Germany.
Nice. I heard those German Super Majors are pretty tight, dude. I've heard nothing but good things about them.
400 players as well in Braunschweig. So nice. I'm probably like my current plan is to like go over to the event in the Netherlands and then just like stay in the Netherlands for 2 days and then just go to Germany from there. So it's fine. I can probably manage that. I'll just like get a hotel somewhere I can do some washing and it'll be all right. I mean, am I doing? You get to see Manchester. Yes, I am. I am signed up for it. We are looking at Airbnbs because Scary and Dan from Red Dragon are coming over. So we were going to get an Airbnb together and sort that out. And then, I don't know what I'm playing yet. Like I'm between a few things. Like I'm kind of in that limbo of I would really like to not play my Blood Angels list anymore because I lost 2 Super Major with it, which means that it's dead to me. Just the standard. Like I've not played that Underclaw since LGT. Just lost with it, go away. So Host of Ascension still on the table. I'm down to play Eldar, but I don't know if I'll be able to get it already in time. I could definitely borrow it. There's also other Marine builds that look super fun. I like Lennon's Stormlight
right now.
Yeah, Lennon's Stormlight's build is super cool. I could also just wrap out the CSM again. I do enjoy playing that army. Sako's 30 possessed Renegade Ridges is like a ton of fun.
The only problem with playing Renegades is it wants you to take a bunch, like even more possessed, and God, are possessed just fucking depressing to use. I don't know if this is just a me thing, because like other people seem to be having a good time, but holy, I hate that data sheet so fucking much.
Yeah. We were looking at a couple of other options for Manchester. So I was speaking to Nathan about like the content side of things and being like, well, if I'm not going to take singles super seriously this year, which is currently my plan, is to like step back from being like on the ITC grind, right? If it happens, it happens, and I'll make a shot at it for like LVO Manchester in January again. But I'm not making it a priority during my event selection. Is kind of how I'm doing it. I'm doing Challengers Cup instead of LGT, a couple of things like that, right? So it's kind of a defense mechanism against getting my expectations up. Of going like, all right, cool. So we were looking at like, what if I just take a Yodel faction and then I get to make, like the Gene Circle video, which is one of the best performing videos I've ever done for the 37% win rate Gene Circle army, right? That I went 7-0 with, and just be like, all right, let me see if I can kind of lightning in a ball do that. And then I looked at all the factions, but I was like, wow, the only faction I can do this with is Sisters, because Sisters is the only one that has a good bad win rate, and no one's gonna listen to me say, oh my god, I took Sisters to a tournament and won, because everyone's gonna be like, yeah, but it's Sisters, dude, it's fine. Also, I don't hate myself that much.
I think Sisters have like some legit decent like builds, but they all involve like a handful of armigers and like allies and shit, so it doesn't super matter.
Yeah, I think the Sacrosanct detachment is better than people give it credit for, but I
still don't think it's good in a way that matters, right? Like
that's kind of where
it's very much a fun detachment.
It's nice to have like a small trading unit that actually does something in Sisters with the Sacrosanct units, but
It doesn't though.
does something is a strong word in that.
I was
Yeah, I
gonna
was
say,
gonna say
we're
that
really reaching.
something is carrying a lot of water there.
Comparatively does something. For 90 points, having an OC2 unit that can hit its way out of a wet paper bag is different in Sisters. Right?
Yeah.
I
As
think
long as
that's
that wet
what
paper
I'm
bag
saying.
isn't T5.
I definitely I've had some suboptimal experiences in the Team USA circuit with us trying to be like, all right, we're gonna try out Sisters as Blunter. It is not doing that thing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like if by a blunter you mean getting hit with a blunt instrument, Sisters are a great blunter.
Well, I got an idea for you, Innes.
Well,
Yeah.
Have Scary write your list for you for Manchester.
Oh, that'd be sick.
No, I refuse. That man's dead to me.
You gonna pair into him round 5?
No, I'm slowly considering bringing 15 Desolation Marines just in case I pair him again. Just be like, I will lose every other round, but if we pair round 1, you're fucking dead. All right. Shall I do plugs and shall we move on to questions then?
Yes,
Given that we're an
let's.
hour in? All right. Let me grab the plugs list and then we will get kicking. So there are 164 people watching right now. So thank you a ton to everybody who's been with us so far. You're an hour into the show. If you're enjoying it, please do leave a like, a comment, and subscription. It does help us out a ton with discoverability and making sure that people can see us, see all the awesome content, and that we can continue bringing it to you. This is how we keep Jeremy eating. We got to pay for those that editing somewhere. Don't worry about it, Jeremy. Let me make the jokes. Okay. There are a bunch of other ways to support us, though, if you're in a position to. If you would like to support us a little bit more, for $5 a month, you can get access to our Discord, the Vibe Check League, and a wide variety of chatting bullshit with us in the StatCheck Discord. That's patreon.com/StatCheck, or through the YouTube membership system that you can find down below. You can also support all of our sponsors who help keep us all in stuff to do. That is Wayland Yutani, Saltar Games, J15 Games, and the Red Dragon in Canada. Red Dragon is our primary sponsor, and you can also get a discount code for them through the Patreon. They're a supplier of board games and all that, board games, card games. We were just talking to Dan about the about getting his Aether Drift stuff in and cracking a bunch of packs just this week. And also, obviously, all of your 40k needs. They have recently sorted shipping to the US, and we are adding a delivery option for pickup at UKTC events and US Open events coming up in the near future. So do check that out because we've just added a bunch of StatCheck merch there as well. Jeremy, do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so some of you may have seen previously in the Discord, or if you aren't in the Discord, you should definitely get in there. But we have some really, really nice like dice holders. Let's see if I can actually pull up a thing of it. I'm going to mute myself while I type because my keyboard's super loud.
Yeah, so we added, I believe, dice holders. We added coins, and the dice got restocked, I think, is what happened.
Yes, so I will pull this up now because I just didn't want to type in the thing. Present, share screen. Now we're just going to share a window. You guys can deal with this. There we go. So if you go to red-dragon.ca and just click on affiliates, us and Scary are both listed in there. That was a weird sound. But yeah, the coolest thing that we have right now are, so we have these new objective tokens. They're 40 mil discs. Scary's go hard because his logo is just absolutely epic. And then we also sell Team USA's objectives, if you didn't know. We also have these metal wound markers. Basically,
I always look at all the Scarcast stuff just to troll us.
Yeah, I know, because I like his stuff. But it also has our stuff in here. Because we just took photos for everything. So one of the things, so it's the coin as well as a little metal dice holder that basically, fits a 16 mil or 12 mil die so that you can hold, you can put it also holds a D10 or a D20 that's a similar scale. So you can just put your wound marker on there, put it next to your model, your vehicle, whatever, and you don't accidentally pick things
Get
up.
your ritual objective markers sorted.
Yep. One of the other things that I'm gonna add is that we have a new set of cool dice that Dan had done up. So this is Dan with the Red Dragon that Innes was talking about earlier. You can see some of them right here, but basically they are a bunch of buff tokens. So one set of them has things like +1 to hit, +1 to wound, -1 to hit, -1 to wound, plus AP, minus AP. Other ones have things like reroll hits, reroll wounds, all of that, just for like tracking those things. Because tokens in this game are just huge. And so basically anytime that you order either a set of dice or some of these wound counters or coins, we're going to throw a couple of those in there for free for you. We do have an option for Manchester UKTC pickup. Dan will be bringing some stuff over there. And for our American friends who have been having a bit of trouble with shipping costs, we have found some alternative options, and it is a little bit cheaper. It's still expensive, and unfortunately, with everything going on, sometimes we can't guarantee that it will stay that cheap. So that's where we're at for that right now.
Well, you did add a pickup option for US Opens, the same as where you could see Manchester, right?
Yes, that's correct. Because Dan and Scary are intending to go to all of those as well. Probably my favorite thing that we have, though, is obviously our dice. Nope, wrong one. That's the generic one. But we have, these are my favorite dice, the ghost ones.
Red and black all day long.
These ones?
They're my favorite ones, yeah.
These ones are really nice. I also really like the matte black finish ones.
I have none of those left. They have all been given away. Everybody took those ones first.
Yeah, and then this is the next one that's, just cool. But yeah, we have lots of different options. Yeah, so that's where we're at for new merch. Really big thanks to Dan at the Red Dragon for supporting us through all this and for letting us do some kind of cool stuff.
And we can probably also at this point say we are in the process of getting our apparel reorganized. Obviously, after we had the disappointing stuff with the previous vendor, we are now working with Anthony's local store to get all of that sorted with Rogue Hobbies.
Yep, Rogue State Games. They make dope stuff. I wear their hoodie on here every so often, but the hoodies and
I
stuff.
think Rogue Hobbies is Louise.
Rogue Hobbies is Louise, isn't it? Yeah. Rogue
Couldn't
State.
tell you.
Definitely not easily confused.
Yeah.
Sick. So yeah, we should have that hopefully sorted in the next month or so. But we're just waiting on a couple of things coming back from that. But that should be available soon. Last thing to shout out on the sponsor front is stat-check.com/coaching. If you'd like to work with myself, Nassim, Liam VSL, or any of the Takeover Cumbers guys, or Pumbaa, please do drop us a message, stat-check.com/coaching, or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com. We are through the busy season for events now, the truly chaotic bit, so there's a lot more time on everybody's minds. So if you're looking for any sort of help with that, drop us a message. We are in the process of also updating our coaching website so that you'll be able to send a direct message to us, like with a bit more information and inquiry. So that should be sorted soon on the website. Once we manage to convince all of our idiots to send us information. Sorry, coaches.
Yeah, if the coaches don't send anything to me by tomorrow, then I'm just putting up the description that I wrote for them, and they get to deal with that.
Mine's done already, so that's fine.
Yeah.
It's
I also used yours as the template because
Exactly.
you're the one that actually responds to my pings.
All right. I think that is it for that. So let's move on to show questions. As always, there is 3 ways to get your show questions on the show. One is to be in the comments, be in the Discord, and leave a thread on the comment section for this given week. One is to leave a super chat in the chat when we're live on the show. And the third way is to just ask a really good question that we decide we want to answer, time pending. So with that, Jeremy, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, let's kick us off. We'll start with the live chat questions because we just have a couple of those. So first one is from Gus Fritz. Thank you for the Delhi 99. I'm assuming that's US since it has no other marker next to it. What is your favorite way to run Scintillating Legion? So anyone who wasn't paying attention last week, we had Matt Morosoli who won Uprising Adelaide with Scintillating Legion. A couple of folks have chatted with him since. It's an interesting list. I think that I don't know if it's that strong of an army, but I think you would usually start with one Lord of Change, with the Infernal Puppeteer, with Kairos, and then from there it's really what you want to flavor the army with. Pinks can be fun, but also they're really expensive, and then Seekers are just, not Seekers. Why am I drawing a blank? Screamers. God, every demon unit looks the same to me.
I mean, they're all just like verb, noun,
Yeah.
adjective.
They really are.
XX of Zinch.
Yep.
My personal favorite is like all the random corn ones that are all just like blood, verb.
Blood letter, blood master,
What's
blood.
the difference between a Skull Master, a Ren Master, and the Blood Master? They're all different data sheets. Which one's on the throne? Which one's on foot? Which one's on the juggernaut?
We kill them all with soup cans when the unions rise. They're all masters. Take them down.
No gods, no masters. That's demons fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the things that's also really fun in that attachment is the Demon Prince with the Relic Sword.
That guy does slam.
That guy just slaps.
I feel like that detachment's like pretty close to being good.
It's close, but one of the things I've also noticed, both having played into it a couple times and watched people play into it a couple times, the first 2 times you play into it, you have no fucking clue what you're doing with it. And then the next 2 times you start to figure out what you're doing with it, and then after that, if you're playing it with the same person, they've also figured out what to do into it, and it's suddenly much less good.
It's also really sketchy when you play to anybody who's got like a dev wound mechanic and just like gets to reroll a bunch of them now. And you're just like, God, please stop killing me.
They have great dev wound defense. They have some of the best dev wound defense in the game. They have a 4-up aura against that if they just take it. Like, yeah, they're really good into like stuff like that. I honest to God find that like the most danger you're in a Scintillating Legion is if you play someone like me, who, if they haven't played against it before, is just going to put the gas pedal through the ground and see if they get punished. And the overwhelming majority of the time, if someone does that to you, a Scintillating Legion, you're just like, my one weakness! Yeah. No!
Scintillating Legion is an army that wants to play the 5 turns. It's kind of similar to Thousand Suns in that sense.
It really wants to activate its 2 Lords of Change that are a squad of 5 Hellblasters 5 times.
Yeah, that's true.
And never, ever, ever wants them to be seen or touched by anything, because they just disappear.
They don't exactly fall back into anything.
Yeah.
And the other part that really hurts about that army, I know I'm being a little bit negative about it right now, is the amount of D3 damage in that army.
It's sometimes really good into -1 damage.
Yeah, I was going to say, D3 damage is like fucked up sometimes, right?
And that's the thing.
Like,
sometimes. Because I've also seen it where someone was like, hey, I have sustained 3 on this gun. I rolled no 6s and I rolled 4 1s on my damage.
Yep.
And then the next time they activate, go, hey, I rolled 4 6s.
It's not even sustained 3, right? It's sustained D3.
Oh, yeah, it's D3.
It's the D3.
It's even.
Siege is the D3 damage army. Yeah. For everything that's flat 3 Slanesh has, Siege is D3.
Yep.
Solid. So even.
Pyros is even damage 2D3. It's just pure chaos.
So yeah. I rest my case. It is Tzeentch's detachment because of how much chaos there is in the output.
You're not wrong.
But there is definitely a hell of a drug to stringing a unit of pinks halfway across the board, having your puppeteer 9 inches behind a wall behind them, and your 18-inch gun is now a 40-inch gun.
Dude, that shit is fucked up.
Anyways. I would look at Matt Morsoy's list. He obviously is the one that's done the best with it. I can't comment too much more on that. Aside from that, the various versions of it they played into usually had the Kairos and the Keeper and the Demon Prince with the sword, and then Screamers and usually 1 unit of pinks.
Yep.
Alrighty. What else we got? We've got Brother Tobias asking for Firestorm stats. It looked really awful last time. Tell you what, Brother Tobias, I will look at the last month's worth of Firestorm stats just for you.
I'd be shocked if it was good now.
Meanwhile, Davos is shouting out Isaac T for being his own 5-person team event as a team's deal to avoid a bye situation and still beating the snot over the teams on his own. That is very impressive. I cannot imagine having time to play 5 additional TTS games in a week, but power to you, Isaac.
I think for 1 round he only had to play 4, but even so, Isaac, you are a monster and I love it. All right. Firestorm stats. No, that's Dark Angel's Firestorm stats. We're not. Those are fake. Space Marines, Firestorm. Oh, God. Okay, so, since the beginning of the year, there have been 43 Firestorm players. So they make up about 15% of Marine players right now. And they have scored a 36.8% win rate.
Nice. I'm not going to lie. I know it's not what you said, but I really thought for a second there that you said there are 4 D3 of them. And I was like, how is that? That can't
There's
be.
There's about 8.
Yeah. I was like, what
There's somewhere between 4 and 12, depending on how you're feeling. Comparatively, you have 63 people who have run Ironstorm, and they have a 54% win rate, which is the...
What's Anvil Siege Force is at right now?
So there are 11 people that have run... I was waiting for Andis to watch this. There are 11 brave folks who have run Anvil Siege Force this year, and they have a 60.6% win rate.
Dude,
29 wins, 18 losses, and 5 draws.
Look, 10 of those wins are Ed and Ben at LVO, so power to them.
I keep looking at that and going, this could be fun.
It's pretty good. I don't think it's amazing, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. And then last question is from Edward Gorn. How do you see World Leaders into the new Elf detachments? No, over here.
Going on today.
The politest way I could put this is that there is, like, surely a better use of your time than this. Like, I think that they are some of the worst hard counters that have ever existed for World Eaters right now. Broadly, I think the meta is like fine for World Eaters. It's just really unfortunate that like two armies that if you like purpose built armies in Nottingham to fuck World Eaters up, you would land on like Bridgehead and like 3 different Eldar builds. And it's just like, that's really unfortunate. That's not to say you can't win them if your opponent is not like, worse than you or makes a bunch of mistake or whatever. Like, all games as World Eaters through the power of multiple Angron reses are winnable. But
The second you start being like multiple Angon Reds as your win path, I start believing that you're maybe not in this for your heart's not in this one.
yeah, it's tough, dude. Like, and yeah, it's just not like it's fine. And if like they stand too close together, you can kind of get away with doing the things you've always done as World Eaters, right? If you can grab fallback locks and like land those and all that works out, nice. But you're really like digging for outs at that point. They're broadly quite bad. There's a lot of fights first attached to like some really scary shit in Eldar that doesn't care about you being T6 or higher depending on what you are. And that is bad news for the boys in red. So yeah, broadly those matchups are really challenging to navigate. I am particularly after the most recent announcements not too long ago that Eaters are getting a codex, soon TM. I'm just not playing them. I stopped playing them like a month ago when we got that announcement or whenever it was, a couple weeks ago or whatever it was. So I've just been playing Bile, who, as a surprise, also don't have a good Eldar matchup. But I don't really know what you're supposed to do as Eaters, I'm going to be honest. Like, you, like, stand on objectives and hope they don't jump on them with you so you can get them with the sticky strat. Good luck.
And Eldar aren't going to not move on the objectives. I don't know if anybody knows this about Eldar, but they tend to move quite a lot and will probably want to be on your objectives with you. They very much like not giving you hugs, but they do not respect your 6-inch personal zoning space.
Yeah, so again, it's
right.
entirely possible you play an opponent who's like really concerned about keeping the dying race of elves alive and like doesn't stand on the ground circles, and maybe it works out and everything's okay. But I would say that the majority of the time that matchup's going to be pretty tough.
Makes sense.
Makes sense to me. All right. Discord questions.
Yep. First of the Discord questions is John going? Is Eldar still broken?
I mean,
probably.
Broken is such a challenging term for Eldar, right? Because like I think what they can do is fucked, and I think that the way in which Eldar is good does not leave a lot of room for what their opponent's doing in the game to matter. And I think that is always bad when that exists. How
good are your defensive strats?
Yeah, I mean, and then they can go, haha, I ignore them and kill you anyway. I think situations like this are always bad when they come up. It came up with Sisters, it came up with T-Sons, it's up again now with Eldar. Like, they just don't... Like, the game is a game of solitaire. The other person on the other side of the table is, like, literally just an NPC in the Eldar experience. And that sucks. Like, that's just a bad thing, right? But all that said, a lot of the time people are going to get it wrong and then they're going to die and then they're going to go, see, Eldar's not broken, and then I'm going to have to avoid trying to scream. So, it's hard to say.
Yeah. No, I think that we kind of did it to death earlier in the episode, but I think there's going to be some rough adjustment on both parts. And then they'll probably have to be taken in a little bit. Yep. Or a lot.
They are very fast. They have a lot of ways to make themselves uninteractive with you, whether that's fire and fades, get back in transports, all that kind of bullshit. And that broadly makes for very negative play experiences on the other side. They also have pretty good indirect for what it is on stuff you're taking anyway, which is...
like, they just have good indirect. They have good, dude, it drives me nuts when people are like, Eldar are like just so fragile. It's like, yes, they're T3, but a ton of this shit now has a 3-up
save. Yeah.
So like you shoot even the stuff with 4-ups. If you don't have AP, like they're just taking 3-ups. So like there's good odds that like intercessors walk up to a squad of fire dragons and shoot them and leave two fuckers there. Like,
Which then still kill a vehicle a lot of the time because
Yeah.
you're not overwatching them to death.
nope. So yeah, it I don't know. I think that's just like a thing that like broadly I'd keep an eye on. I would genuinely not be surprised if Eldar's like first couple weeks they were below 50% on win rate. Just because I do think the army is challenging to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back 3 years ago when the Eldar Codex came out, then they did start out quite low, and then people were figuring out the good builds, like, well, Harlequins. But once Harlequins got hit,
I was
it
gonna say I think they started low because they were busy getting destroyed by clowns, but
yeah. But then once that was somewhat resolved, not fully, obviously, because that was that is our formation. That is like our format of years as stat check, or I guess back in the day when when you guys were Fight Club.
Yep.
But yeah, when you started to see Hail, when you started to see Uthway builds come out, it was just like, okay.
yeah, and I think we're gonna have a pretty similar situation to that. So like I don't, what Eldar can do when they're piloted very well is broken.
Mhm.
I think that the amount of times that shows up to a given like average tournament experience player, particularly early, not going to be super common, but that doesn't make it any less fucked up.
Yep, I agree. All right. Our next question is from John V8 Gang. This is talking about last week's episode, Re-Innis spiraling a bit last episode. How do you remove emotion from post-game analysis? When I think about games and what I could do better, I'm not as sure as I am as objective as I could be if something was good or bad choice. I think in terms of being objective, the best way to do this is to have someone to talk about the game with afterwards. Because it's very easy to just get down on your own decisions and just hyper-focus on that, as opposed to have someone, a friend or a coach or even your opponent, just bounce things back and forth like, hey, I think I made this mistake. Would you have done that?
I have a minor hot take. It is very rarely worth it to ask your opponent what you should have done differently in a game, particularly if you lost, because the overwhelming majority of the time, and this is just my experience, but the overwhelming majority of the time, the other person's gonna be like, dude, you were a tactical genius. You were absolutely perfect on this day. I was just slightly better. And that shit is not helpful.
No.
To me, anyway.
Our lived experience on that is definitely very different.
Yeah.
But that's also because I don't appreciate from a what did I do wrong. It's like, hey, I think this point here was the pivotal moment where I could have won the game if I had done that. What do you think? And I've gotten good responses. I've also gotten useless responses. But this is also why like having someone like Innis or yourself as a coach to bounce through that afterwards. Take those notes, take those photos, and go, hey, I did this. And then you look at the look on Innis's face, and he goes, what the fuck were you doing?
Right.
If you're gonna do it yourself, the best part of it is do it like a couple days later. Don't try to do it straight away because you're not going to remove the emotion from it if you're doing it afterwards. And then I generally would suggest trying to go through it from a perspective of, rather than being like, oh, where did this game go wrong, is try to look at like your pivotal turn and think, what did I need to make happen this turn, and why did I not make it happen, or what went wrong with that turn that I didn't achieve the goals I set out. Right? Was your goal to kill certain things, score certain things, get some points? Okay, why didn't you get those points? Why didn't you score those things? Was it misallocation of resources? Was it a downswing on dice that you could have accounted for by being more aggressive somewhere else because you tried to do too much stuff that turn and then you didn't give yourself backup options? Right? Try to step back and look at the turns that went wrong objectively as much as you can. You will not get it perfect. Nobody does. Take some pictures, stuff like that. If you can, that'll help a ton. But.
Yep. Well, we've got John Leonard with a follow-up question that basically pivots perfectly into this, which is how do you balance making notes, taking photos, and recording the game for review afterwards against actually playing the game within the time constraints at an event or being respectful of your opponent's time in a practice game?
Clocks, baby.
Yeah, when the clock's on you, you can do whatever you want. So if you're playing your army quickly enough, then you will have that time to go, okay, this is what I did.
The other thing you can usually do is, like, if you've got a notebook and you're taking notes, do it during your opponent's movement phase. Jot some notes at the end of your fight phase when your opponent's about to do their clapback, stuff like that. If you've got to do it in that time. And then I would suggest just, like, use the remind me to take pictures function in the tabletop battles app and just take a picture of the top and bottom of each of your turns. It'll get most of the information that you need to resolve out of that. And then you're usually going to be fine. If you're really, really struggling with clocking out, you're gonna have to work on that too. Like, that's just part of this. You should be having most games you're playing. You should be having 5 to 10 minutes spare because you don't want to play a game that goes to the wire because it's going to stress you out trying to play your last turn with 5 seconds on the clock. Just give yourself some grace. Try to play a little bit faster. and then use that time. And then when you play event games and you're not taking notes as much and stuff like that, you'll have that time back, which will help you play the tougher turns better.
Yep. I would also add to that that you can forego some of your time to do this. Like, it's not the end of the game if you find yourself short. If you have more to, if you're trying to learn and try to get better, not finishing your game might be better.
In the respect of your opponent's practice time, I generally don't recommend that. Like, if you're doing a practice game with somebody, you kind of owe it to them to finish the game if that's the thing they want.
Yes, no, that I 100% agree with.
It is important to get your first 3 turns right rather than playing 5 turns a lot of the time. Because if you don't have a good first 3 turns, you're never going to, your turn of 5 aren't going to matter. So the fact that you played them doesn't mean a ton.
Yep. Truman asks, any notable differences for judging a team event instead of singles? I guess I can kind of talk to this because I'm the one that's judged the most team events, but feel free to chime in as well. My biggest thing is I try to make clear that the captains are responsible for their players. So, if there is a rules disagreement between 2 players at the table, try to flag the captains first, or 2 coaches from the team, have them try to resolve it, just with like rules references, not saying what you can do or anything like that. And if then you can't get it resolved, then you call a judge, because you usually have a lower number of judges to players at a teams event than you will at a singles event. Like, my rule of thumb for our local events is I'd like to have a judge for every 30 players, but I'll usually have a judge for every 5 or 6 teams at a team event, just because it's, the work can be a little bit lighter. We also tend to run into a lot fewer contentious moments, because you make it very clear to the captains that since their players are their responsibility, the players are then, incentivized to be on their best behavior and to come to an amicable agreement on things with their opponent. Yeah, and I think the other thing is that timekeeping tends to be a much bigger thing when it comes to teams than singles. Because you want to make sure that everything is going and everything is moving smoothly, which means that the captains need to be made clear that, hey, when time is up, you need to make sure that your team's score has been submitted. So that way we can pair the next round and everyone can pick up all their shit and go to the next table that they're going to be at. As opposed to, when it's singles and one player's going to drag on it, you kind of go, no, you're done, timeout, that's it. But clocking out a single game in a teams event can be hugely impactful. So, any other thoughts from you 2 guys?
Nope, pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, nothing offhand. Don't be afraid to enforce clocks.
Oh no, I agree. Don't be afraid to, but you also have to make it very clear to the captains, make sure your players are on time, because
that's what I'm saying. It's just one
you
of
will
those
get you will get fucked by a clock enforcement a lot more than you would in a singles game.
Yep.
All right, this will be a fun one. Nick K asked, "What are the best and worst GW layouts?"
Layout 6 can suck my dick.
1 and 3 are good. I don't know any of the other ones particularly well.
1 is probably my favorite, but that's just because it feels like the most classic Warhammer, and it's just a nice balanced layout.
1 lets you play shooting and guns well. You can use both on that layout without too much drama.
Yeah.
No one.
It's also a very straightforward layout, so if you're playing 4 games in a day,
it's just not hard to use.
3 is decent. I like 3. 6, can go suck a teat, because it is definitely not fun.
Dude, the sneaky good thing is 3 on Tipping Point. It's not a recommended layout. It's actually quite good.
Huh? Yeah.
I personally love 7 and 8 every time. Every tournament should be 7 and 8. So
I like 8 a lot, but 8 also requires the players to actually pay attention when they're placing that middle.
Oh, it's so. It also, if you've got the wrong way facing ruins, you're just committing a hate crime when you set that board up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Also, but just pure skew melee.
Yeah,
only
it's
7 is the staggered lanes that you do not get angles on until they're 2 inches away from you.
I love it as a boss.
8, there's at least 2 fire lanes down the board that you can control and expose yourself into if you need to. But if you have those middle 4x6 ruins slightly misplaced, the board is now wide open. So.
I've played 5 in sweeping engagement multiple times, and it's also been some of the worst experiences of my life playing Warhammer.
So. I think
why were you playing on sweeping?
I think a lot of the GW layouts are genuinely bad. But it's
I think they're almost all just worse than equivalent WTC layouts generally.
I agree, but I think that a lot of the problems arise from people reading a GW layout and thinking that means they can play GW missions and then playing GW missions, of which a bunch are bad. So,
yeah, you need to be careful with the combination that you pick.
Yeah.
So, tip to tournament organizers out there: consider the interactions between the table and the mission that you're picking, because sometimes it can be real bad and sometimes it can be perfectly fine.
Yeah, like layout 1, the middle objective is always like just in the open, but often the side objectives are behind a wall. So if you just,
They're like behind a wall asterisk is the
Yeah, okay, so on layout 1, you can fit a 32 mil base that can't be shot from the other side of the board, and that's all you can put on that objective.
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends, right? Because like in corners, it's totally fine.
Sure. In Crucible, I don't like layout 1. In corners, it's fine. I will agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's still like... So, think about it, and then it's also just like, if you're playing layout 6, but it's ritual, changes it if you're playing, instead of you're playing take and hold. Because suddenly you don't care as much.
I think layout 6 would be okay on hidden supplies, but more so than it is in general.
It's... I actually played that at Challengers Cup, I think, against Tundra. Was hidden supplies on 6.
The objectives just aren't like in Guam. I think that map's a lot more interesting. But, and if the ruins face the right way instead of being outward facing and we're inward facing, I actually would really like that layout.
Yeah, that's definitely the big thing on 6 is those 2 middle ruins, flip them and just orient them the right way so that it's not just death the minute you step foot in them.
Yeah, we play near exclusively 1 and 3 locally, and it's had like basically no backlash. It's like those layouts are always just like
Yeah, 3 is pretty good.
We also play with the WTC charging rule locally, so
that helps.
I don't think it's necessary on the smaller ruins if you actually have the smaller ruins.
Just imagining playing 1 in Dawn though, and it made me want to vomit. But that's a Dawn thing.
That's a Dawn problem, dude.
Dawn is only on layout 5, apparently.
I mean, Innis is apparently also playing sweeping, so.
Dude, sometimes you just go to an event and they're just like, "We hate you," and
that did actually happen at an RTT locally. The last round was sweeping, and I kind of looked down and I went, "Okay, so this is the WTC. This is the War Masters Shadow Round map."
Yeah, like what are we doing?
Well, I'm playing against Solar Spearhead, and I'm playing Ironstorm. Have fun, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, by the way, on the topic, talk about overrated armies, dude. Fucking Solar. Holy, dude. People have finally figured out that if you tag them with 10 guardsmen, they're just there for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it turns out when a model only has 5 attacks, you can very easily tarp at them.
Yeah.
All right. Alex W. asks, I have to choose between Bile or World Eaters for an upcoming team tournament. What do you think are the pros and cons?
Who asked this?
Alex W.
Oh, not Taos. Okay.
No, not Taos.
I was going to give a very different, very rude response. The answer
to Taos is World Eaters, right?
So I literally have this decision that I just made, right? I'm playing Bile because there is no other CSM on my team, and there's a World Eater book coming allegedly soon. So that means that I don't want to continue to get reps on something that's going away. However, my big event is in August, and if for you this is your big event, I would just play the thing that you have more time on, and go from there. I think that they have very similar matrices the overwhelming majority of the time. I think World Eaters is a little bit better at being like, oh shit, the matchup's bad, it's got to get crazy, let's find some outs, but I also have fucking 1,000 games of it. Bile, however, runs downhill faster than almost anybody. If the matchup's favored for Bile, woo boy!
Yeah.
So, that's the balance. I think Bile's a little bit easier to play than World Eaters is. Partially because you get CP fuckery, and that's, usually the main skill check of, or one of the main skill checks of Eaters.
Melee armies.
Yeah, melee armies in general. But Bile just getting to be like, no, actually, you can't interrupt. No, you can't use any of your defensive strats. And by the way, everything over there is more expensive, is really good. I think, honestly, Cypher alone might make Bile easier to play than World Eaters.
Yeah.
So it's all about reps and kind of what you're looking for. What the rest of your team comp looks like, right? If you have another good CSM player on the team, then let them do that. You can play Eaters. You could be the Bash Bros.
Yeah, that sounds quite good. All right. Next, we've got Lucas H. asking, how do you play into Ultramarine, Gilliman, and Calgar Ironstorm or Gladius lists? Because we are seeing a lot of those.
Ironstorm is genuine. genuinely not that great. I swear to God, I wouldn't even put it in the top 3 of Ultramarine options.
I don't think I would either, but
Yeah.
I think it's still fine. I think it's still good enough that,
I agree.
you're going to see it.
Yes.
All right. You, honestly, my best answer for this is you just kind of have to disrespect it. It's going to do shit. It's going to kill stuff. It's going to burn a bunch of CP. You can't let it just like, ho, 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 I will reactive move, and you won't interact with me. If you're just like, yeah, dude, you've got that Gravis Captain on the middle objective, and I can't kill him, and you just like fucking high five and you let him stand there, what are we doing, dude? Put 5 dudes on it, make him come out and kill him, and then kill some of the stuff. Like, you've got to be like, Calgar's going to charge some stuff, but I can't not be in the midfield anyway. You got to go and take the fight to it a little bit, otherwise it'll just sit there and like hoard resources, like, and just be like, all right, well, I have 47 CP this game. You can't do anything about that. You like, go man, they can only armor contempt one thing. They can only spoke one thing. You got to just like start activating at them. If you let them sit there and check themselves off in the corner, then yeah, you're going to get drained out by reactive moves and armor contempt on the one thing you're trying to kill every turn. You're going to like poke out to shoot a Vindicator with like 2 tanks, and it's going to go armor contempt, smoke, and you're going to go, oh man, I bet that cost you some resources. And you're like, no, actually, it didn't at all. Also, I'm still stood on all the objectives, and Guilliman and Kilgar are 5 inches closer to you than you were last turn because they advanced on a diagonal, and you're just losing ground space to them. They're going to try to deny your staging points. So put your shit on the board and go and fucking kill them, or you'll just choke out and die. And then, like, yeah, don't play lists that just rely on, like, 2 units to stand in the open. Like, don't play lists that have to stand in the open, just in general right now. Because, yeah, you're going to have a bad time if you're playing double oath Iron Sword, or double oath anything Space Marines. Like, don't try to be that guy right now. You're not going to be the guy that lives through the Space Marine shooting phase. Play something else. Play something with more nuance.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's an army that would love to just shoot you uninterrupted for 3 turns.
Yeah. Don't play Norton emissaries right now. Really, please just don't. Anthony, I think you're muted.
The sooner you can make the game awkward to them and gum up their stuff, particularly Ironstorm, the better you are. Gladius kind of just does whatever the fuck it wants.
Look, dude, I just make Gladius take some desperate escape checks and hope that they fail a couple of them.
Yep. That's where we're at, dude. The desperate escapes.
Grab the Vindicator, you're like, your siege shield stuck with me, and hope that they fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, or they just stay in and blow you to pieces.
That's when you tag another dude at the same time.
There you go. Yeah, it's really hard to deal with Gladius.
It's a bad list to deal with. It's a really good army, but yeah.
Gladius
has reserve shooty stuff. It's the best way to deal with Gladius. If you are dropping on them, they struggle. GSE Vanguard is what took Josh down at LVO. Slanesh can run through it if you connect. Folger had a pretty good game into it. It got dicey, but it can play it with Solar Spearhead. Like, you can take in a level of like awkward durability where they have to commit more stuff than they want to, and then hope you connect to them if you have the right staging. Or you can play reserve armies. Those are kind of the 2 ways to play through it right now.
Makes sense. All right. Alice has a longer question. I've tried to trim it so it'll actually fit on here, but it seems that even won't work. With armies like Legion of Excess that come into the med with an incredibly high win rate, but over time decreases as the game adjusts, I don't know if that's actually the case at this point. Do you think it's better off for GW to play it safe and nerf the detachment and look at rolling back over time to avoid a potentially problematic army, or should they leave it alone for a longer period of time so the community continues to adjust to it? I'm going to say right now they should just nerf it and then roll it back depending on how far it falls. But the thing is, you need to nerf the detachment, not the army, because Slash Demons kind of suck everywhere else.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Like, Legion of Excess
just delete Thieves of Chain.
Yeah. Dude, there's so many ways they could just immediately pull it back, and it wouldn't even be that crazy.
Reroll 1s to hit and wound. Let's just do that.
Don't even do that. Reroll 1s to hit and wound. Reroll all if you're in shadows. Like, just let them do their thing. It's fine. Make Thieves 2. Make the range shorter. Like, do something.
Make Thieves 6 inches and require visibility.
I don't know about that you need to do both of those, but, like, you could do either
at a minimum, visibility should be part of it, but yeah.
The Battleshock one maybe doesn't need the -1 natural kicked onto it. It should require shadows. A couple things like that.
Yeah, the stacking negatives on that strat is feels bad.
Yeah, I understand that the army's doing quite well, but like I just think it could get it's very easy to tune this back just a bit, and I think that takes care of most of the problem of it, but I could be
That's
wrong.
fair. I think Fiends could probably take a points hit and not be terrible in other detachments as well.
Fiends super don't need a points hit. They're unplayable garbage outside of this detachment.
I've seen them a fair few times in Demonic Incursion.
Really?
I guess. I
Like,
haven't.
they're 5-1-2. They're not good.
They're
They're
5-2-2.
5-2-2.
But yeah.
And they're 5-3-2 next to a keeper.
Yeah, they're better than
Sure.
Possessed. Let's not get carried away.
And
No,
they're
yeah.
cheaper than Possessed, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Well,
So,
they're not cheaper per model in us. Come on.
yeah. Yeah, like, that starts really cool for Tywin. It's like, take a laser 9 times, you fail to take 3 more and shoot a different unit at BS5. You know what's really fucked up? Is when you're in engagement range with the keeper with your tank and it's the only thing you're allowed to shoot, and you fail it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Or
fucking hate.
hear me out, when they also have the changeling in that army.
Don't bring out that shit. That's not fair. No one should have to deal with that.
It's a very funny. It's a really, really feel bad moment when you're in combat with the changeling and you kind of go, so if I shoot out, you're just going to make me take 1 at -2, and if I try to shoot the changeling, I just have to do it anyways.
All right, we are like barely a third of the way through these questions.
All right, let's power through.
Also,
We've done GW layouts.
Yeah, we've already talked about that. Gorn, I've always felt my pre-game talk about armies takes too long. What are information you want to give your opponent to minimize pre-game talk? Quite honestly, I asked them, do you know what my army does? And if they say yes, that's on them at that point. And then I will highlight a couple gotchas like, hey, I can shoot you back.
Yeah, I'm like, with those essentially, I'm usually like, hey, these are shooty units. Hey, these are reroll wound units. Hey, these are my gotchas. Hey, this is what the characters do. I heal, and then kind of leave it at that. I'm like, if you need more than that, I'm happy to give it to you. Clock's on though. Like I've given you the basics. I've given you what you need to know. With armies that are like brand new, you got to be a little deeper. But like your opponent should know the questions they need to ask from what you've told them.
I just extend a lot of grace to people during games. So if I see someone walking into an actively bad decision, I'll be like, "Hey,
I'm not gaslighting you here. I'm just letting you know that happens if you do that."
Do you remember earlier when we talked about this thing that might be bad if it happened? That might happen right now.
Yeah. All right. So now we've got Mark asking, "Good evening, boys. This is our first time rolling over into a new ITC season, so I'm unfamiliar with how everything works." Everyone's unfamiliar at this point. Do we know when the 2025 season actually starts? My local TO was befuddled when he couldn't submit for a token for our RTT last weekend. Our event didn't show up in 2024, and 2025 doesn't exist yet. Will they give tokens retroactively? Any info would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, gents. I can answer this because I have been in talks with the fellows who handle match play and organized play for Games Workshop. I am speaking unofficially here, but basically the season started the week after LVO. In fact, the Sunday of LVO, those RTTs.
Yeah, the weekend of LVO, right? Any event that was that weekend.
Yeah, because the cutoff is the weekend before. But basically, so anything that has been played up until now and continue to being played until the season gets actually properly fired off will be able to apply for tokens retroactively. You can always submit tokens at a max of 28 days after the event has happened. There will be obviously some flexibility if it takes longer for the system to kick off. There were some announcements made at LVO saying that they were changing things up, so I imagine that that's just what the slowness of it is right now. But watch Warcom, and I think BCP will also make an announcement when the new tokens
They might
are
also
live.
at some point like archive previous seasons somewhere people can find them or something like that. Wouldn't that be cool?
I don't believe
Let's
that'll
not
ever
get
happen.
crazy.
I have my archive links, and they eventually just go dead. So,
Well, they're all still
yeah.
into the 2015 season, right? So,
yeah,
still
the link is still to the
the
2015 season on the
2015
webpage. If you go there, it's very funny. All right, this one's for Innes. Isaac, unsurprisingly, is asking you, how do you manage your host army on the table?
I have a pile of tubs. I'll go grab them. I'll show you.
Our local Dan does the same thing, except with solo cups. You basically just manage a unit is in this color last span goes in here. And I'm assuming that Innes does something very
So
similar.
what I did was I went and I bought 2-part like meal takeaway tray tubs. So I've got them. They're like this, where I've got 20 man, or like one half has 5 5 acolytes, and then the other half has 20 neophytes. And then all of them have loom bands for color coding. You could also use base rings for this, but whatever. So like acolyte squads, white bands for the squad with that, and then I've got all of them in separate. And then I've got like another tub that has all my gene stealers and my lone ops and stuff like that in it. And then all my neophyte squads are banded up the same with different colors. So this is orange squad, and then all the special weapons in those squads have a second band on them for the special weapons. So like all the webbers, the grenade launchers, the flamers have a second band, so I can pull them out quickly and be what it is. And then obviously the banners are a bunch taller. So that's how you kind of pull out the 9 special weapons and then keep the squad separate. And then once a squad is dead, I put the like I have a bit of thing that I just put on, being like this squad is dead, and then if it's res, I put it in with a res token on top of it instead.
Yep.
And then it's actually quick. It's one of the
warns
first
you
times I've
just
ever
don't
played.
microwave the wrong tray.
I would not recommend it. No, those I don't think they taste good.
Yeah. All right. We've got Davin asking now, Which armies are best positioned to bully new Eldar and also not suck in most singles matchups on GW train? My test games into Elves have been a complete dumpster fire. Also, why do Dark Reapers cost 18 points per model?
No idea.
Because they have one wound, dude. They're fragile. What? They are.
GSC's pretty good into them, I think. It's felt that way in testing so
Yeah,
far.
probably. All right.
Guard has a very playable matchup into them. I think there are some Marine builds that can
Speak
kind
of
of
armies that
put the heart on
deserve
them.
each other.
Yeah, for
real.
sure. Marines are flexible enough in build to play into anything with the new rules changes. I think you kind of want to move away from some of the more tanky builds into more infantry stuff, but infantry is just as fragile into them for other reasons. Fight First is quite good into Eldar if you can get it off in the right way. There are a bunch of things that you could look at. I could see CSM in some versions, like if you went for like a more MSU and Renegade Raiders list, having an interesting play. But
Maybe if fucking a Curse Cultist come back in fucking vogue, dude. That's not...
Chaos Cult, I could see Chaos Cult being fucking rude into them.
I would be shocked. It's mostly just like the worst part about playing against Eldar as CSM is that just like every fucking rat idiot on the table is like 2 dead legionnaires, like every one of them, just every elf on the table is just like pew 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 dead marines, and you're just like, okay, I guess. The Dark Reaper squad whops out the boat, kills 3 units, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Yeah, it's bad. It's a bad day.
Yeah, it sounds pretty miserable.
It would be nice if it wasn't, but
All right. Toot Toot, I strongly doubt that's your real name, so please follow the
bet
rules
it
in the
is.
Discord. And it is?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I said I bet it is.
All right. Ask, how do you see Warpaint Task Force Grey Knights working as part of a team? Do you still think it's a blunter army, or is it more trying to push big scores?
Oh my god, Wartbane's so good. Holy, Wartbane is so good, dude. Maybe this is just like my eternal bias is like, apparently I've been like assigned the like, you know, the karmic burden of the cross of playing all the Grey Knights in the room since WTC. But god damn, do you have to play against Wartbane in the Index very differently. Wartbane kills you at a pace. Wartbane doesn't care who you are or what you said or what you think you said.
11.
Yeah, Wartbane puts bodies in the ground. Yeah, you gotta mind your fucking P's and Q's when you play against that army. I think it definitely can push for big scores. I think even in its bad matchups, it's capable of scoring. It's just, you know,
Just don't play
good.
Bridgehead.
Yeah.
Just ever. Just don't play Bridgehead.
Yeah, it sounds
Holy
pretty bad.
shit, that matchup is fucking evil.
Pickles!
Yeah, that matchup seems bad.
What if all my shit was toughness 08, did you say?
Yeah,
oh,
not
that's
the-
not. That's
Oh, your strength 8 and 9 with +1 to wound? Oh, no.
Yeah.
that's the wrong stat to bring to this fight, buddy.
All right, there's another one for Anthony. How do I beat Tactical Brigade with War Leaders when they have 2 layers of screens?
Damn, dude, that's it. Someone screened you, you lose. That's how World Leaders works. No, I'm just kidding.
Anthony.
Whoop, hold on. So, I think Tactical is a genuinely terrible matchup. They printed a bunch of data sheets that are like, here's strength more than, you know, your 8
It should
bound
be.
at, you know, anti-Angron. So you get your ass kicked in that matchup a lot of the time. I'm going to be blunt. You can try and hit fallback locks on stuff, and like maybe they built like a weird version that doesn't have much melee, and then maybe it's alright. But we're starting to get into the like, you know, 1 Angron res at least type of outs in this one.
Damn, dude, it fights harder than you, shoots harder than you, and has more stuff than you.
It doesn't.
Good luck.
All right, it doesn't fight harder than you, but after it
Fights
shoots
a lot
you,
more
it will
stuff than
whoop
you.
your ass in melee.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more melee units than you do. Let's go with that.
That's not even true. You have more of those things because the gun units for orcs are legitimately expensive, and tactical's easy to get wrong. And if you catch them like wawing at the wrong time, and it's easy to carve through them, a lot of their defense is like shooting based. But if they get first touch, you're gonna die. So be very snug behind your walls and very spawn on objectives until you can get, you know, into the bad guys.
Makes sense. All right. Goran, you're asking a lot of questions today, but I'm still going to give them to you. What's the most dope trick you pulled off in a game?
killing a rezzing model with the mortal wound strat with Gene Circle when they charge you with your infantry, it dies in place, didn't make a charge move, and stands there and dies. It's great. Fuck Goleman.
Probably killing a solitaire with a saboteur.
That's not really a trick.
I mean,
No,
it's-
but
it's a
it was
tricky
my opponent was like, I was like, saboteur here, saboteur here, saboteur here.
Heroicing into a solitaire with JPIs at LDVO was pretty funny.
He made the solitaire
50-50 die.
disappear. It was a trick.
Yeah, and want to see a magic trick? 2 up. Boom.
I've got another good one, Anthony, but go for yours.
I don't really have any. Like, I can't think of anything that I've done that was like particularly tricky. Lately, that's not really how I play the game.
I think my favorite one was watching someone try to fail hazardous to auto kill themselves out of with a resurrecting model and try to kill themselves out of combat.
Oh man, that's a lot of steps. I respect it though.
And then do 0 damage in melee and die.
Yep.
I've done a lot of rerolling saves to try to lose one model to a rhino that's tagging a 20-man so I can respawn onto an objective. But 6-inch poly consolidation with Metamorphs has got to be the most fun one, where you're like, you drop it out of reserve, you bang a charge with +4 because of course you did, and then you killed it with the Gene Star unit, and then you 6-inch poly consolidation to like get into like your friend's backfield.
Yeah, so you just gone 25 inches from a 9-inch deep strike.
I also did that with the new Flybone detachment with Poxwalker squad. I think I might have spoken about this on the show before, where I like walked out of my home objective with a squad of Poxwalkers that was like pressed up against the ruin, declared a charge against a 1-wound cannonist in the middle objective, rolled a 4, command rerolled it because I was like, that's not really that great, I'll do more with it, rolled a 12, went horizontally around her, just like orbited her, surrounded her with 8 Poxwalkers, stank shocked her for a mortal wound to kill her, and then 6-inch poly consolidation like onto the objective, then into the unit behind it, going 28 inches with my Poxwalker unit. In the same between the moving, shooting, far. That felt good. That was like I was like, I am very good at this game. It's kind of
I am the Warhammer 40,000 today.
Yeah, solid. All right. Next question is Henry the Wizard asking: so Grotmus was a hit or miss for many armies. Are all of the bad ones dead on arrival, or are there ones you could consider playable with simple points adjustments in the future? I think the only like real dead on arrival ones are ones for armies that don't have their codex yet.
Armored Warhost.
Yeah, you ain't saving
Eldar.
that one.
Yeah, but that's Eldar. They have 9 detachments now. That's fine. I honestly don't want to ever see that on the table. So
I think the Wolves one is kind of ass as well, unfortunately.
Isn't the Wolves one just like the Index but worse?
Yeah, it's 3-inch heroic and no damage buffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, codex isn't out yet, so.
Oh, Sisters have a codex. That's true.
Yeah, but that's because Sisters, if they had not just been punted
Yeah, if
into the
Bringers of
sun.
Flame already existed when they wrote that, they were like, we can't make another good one.
Yeah. I think that most of them will be playable with adjustments or with a codex that actually is reflective of
Or
what
are
they wrote
not
it with.
intended to be for competitive play because the book already has a bunch of attachments that are that.
Yeah.
Which is also fine.
Yeah, like
Like,
Creation's vile.
It's okay if some of them are just for fun, guys.
All right. Goran, I'm skipping over this question because that one we've kind of talked about that, and I don't want to talk about UFC or MMA or whatever that is. Adam Thylacine asks, should Ynnari be able to go in transports? Yes, they should. That's clearly an oversight.
Nah, fuck them.
But
No, they should have some limitation.
yeah, you can only take Venoms.
All right, Eminem.
All right. Nick K asks, how do you see orcs performing in a meta of guard, indirect, and elves?
Look, tactical's really good, Nick. You should just play it for Cherokee.
Tactical is very good. I could see some of those matchups being challenging. If Eldar didn't have the Ignore Overwatch one, I would say Tactical is probably outright favored into it. But they do, so.
You only do so much, though, right?
And I mean, also, stay in your metal box for a little while longer.
That
Doesn't help that much against Eldar.
doesn't.
No, but it helps against guard indirect.
It does help against Guard Indirect. Guard Indirect's not that good at killing orcs for what it is. Especially if you have stealth.
But yeah.
You have stealth, which does
Yeah, if
actually
you have
matter
stealth, it goes
against
back to hitting on 5s, and that's just...
And Guard is a little more order limited now in some situations. Like, Creed's not as good. You're still probably going to see her, but she's not as good. And, I don't know. Maybe it's fine.
What did
Yeah.
you do?
All right. Bobby, the RPG Luminary, asks, what is your best advice for building for and playing on GW terrain layouts? Live in an area where generally all the events around run that format.
there are so many different GW terrain layouts for maps for different maps and missions. If you're living in a 1 and 3 area, it's gonna be very different from a 7 and 8 area.
Yeah.
So really sorry, but you're gonna need to either be more specific or drop a message into the Discord and like ask them some general questions, because that's too much, unfortunately.
Yeah. Alan Thylacine just asked a quick question of any rumblings of WTC player pack or FAQ updates. It's so
We're
far
in the
out.
process of updating the map pack. It will be soon.
Cool.
Soon TM.
Eric Cultischan asked, not getting to watch the show tonight because I'm seeing Hadestown right now. Hadestown?
Hadestown.
Hadestown.
What is everyone's favorite musical or Broadway show? Avenue Q.
Hadestown is the only one that I've seen, and it was pretty tight, so that one.
No
Fair.
idea. I'm not that cultured.
And then Sam Lemon asks, why is the Bile game into Eldar a negative matchup? Would the melee pressure and threat saturation be potentially enough?
All right, dude. This is... Hold on.
Oh, no.
Pickles, get out of the way. So, the Eldar Union would have you believe that melee pressure is the path forward into the elves. And they are fucking lying to you. They want you to run face first into their fist and be like, damn, dude, it didn't work out. You must have done it wrong. I was just so skillful in my execution of my army's game plan. And it was squirrely for a bit, and it was a nice close game, but took it home 96-34. And they are the worst. It is not going to work the way that you think it is. Trust me, for I have tried. I have tried into them while they are weak and inexperienced and still failed. It is not what it sounds like it's going to be. And now perhaps I could be wrong.
So
maybe
why
this
is it not
is
like what it sounds like?
maybe this is the great weakness of the 3-wound man trying to fight against the elves, and there is more success to be had in the orc warhorde angry green gorillas in boxes. But I, as the official representative of the Toughness 6 3-wound union, can tell you with strong feelings that it ain't gonna work. Find another method. Find another path.
What's the maximum number of 8-bound that Osterman has killed into you?
I wasn't playing more. I've played World Leaders into Eldar 0 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anthony did say that there was a waste of time earlier.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
just not-
seen Osterman kill 11 possessed of 10 in one go.
Yeah, you just get fucking body dropped, dude. It's rough. Like, it's not good.
It does not feel good. All
I
right.
brought this squad to do stuff, and it's not doing stuff. Why are Dark Reapers ignore cover?
Yeah, it's just
At least
it's
the
bad.
Indirect doesn't ignore cover, right? Right?
It's true. I mean, it's
Why do they have a
only
strat
one, so
that
might
just
as well.
ignores all mods except for wound rolls?
KR, I would gladly become head of the Custodes Union and take them under my wing if I thought that army was cool at all.
All right. Spooky. Isaac Clark asks, I've already asked. Oh, no, sorry. One back. Coco Jack H asks, going to a small teams event with some more casual friends. At what point does experience take over in favor of better matchups?
Immediately.
Basically, all the way up
right
to
away.
8 mans with like good players.
Yeah. I've helped out teams at other levels, and immediately.
Just play the list you're comfortable with. You will know your matrix better, and you will play better in the matchups that are harder with more experience.
Yeah, because you could look at a paper matchup and say, hey, that's a green for this matchup, but the player who's playing that has never played that matchup before. Avoid.
Yep.
All right. Last 2 questions, and then we'll take a couple quick questions from chat. But now, Isaac Clark has asked, I've already asked, but do you think CSM will keep Noise Marines or get new EC Battle Line as allies? I think they'll keep Noise Marines.
I hope desperately that they keep Noise Marines. Please do not give me another random fucking Legionnaire equivalent.
Why did they have Infiltrate and Sticky?
I don't care.
I do. That sounds great. I'll have that,
No.
please.
God.
But yeah,
fuck.
no, I think Noise Marines would be the
I think
standard one
it's
because it's been all the
probably
cult
good.
Marines, but Noise Marines not being Battle Line, or at least from what we've seen, not Battle Line, is kind of weird.
CSM need an infantry shooting unit so fucking badly.
You got obliterators,
I was going to say, Obliterators are
Shut
infantry.
Up.
And you've got Havocs, too.
They need a good infantry shooting
You
unit.
can run you can put
Terribly.
a missile launcher and a melta gun in Nemesis Claw.
I don't even
And
know
they
if
get
that's
plus
true.
one-
You could
they
just
get
be
plus one to
lying.
hit. You get plus with the hitting wound against units both starting strength and shooting as well. So that's a shooting unit too.
Yeah. And then someone asks, what's the secret to Battle Shock? And the answer is roll better.
Yes, correct.
Skill it. Put your things next to the Silent King, Steven. I see you.
True.
Play more Scorched Earth inspired leadership.
I was just about to be like, why do we play that mission so much? And that's because it's a WTC mission.
That's the Scorched Earth. One of the few good primaries.
Yeah, and also it's kind of fun. I don't know.
I mean,
All
inspired
right.
leaders.
Did anyone flag anything in chat? If not, I'm just going to scroll back and find a couple interesting ones.
No, I did not flag anything.
All right. Australis Tabletop Wargaming Network. Thanks for the coverage of Uprising last weekend. It was pretty fun to watch. Bring back a tournament calendar for global ITC tournaments. That would be wonderful. Yes, please. The old calendar was
They said
bad,
that they were doing that at LVO. So.
Oh, cool. All right. I'm down with that.
Melody's had success with 21 activation levels. I will say that my Vindicators were shit in that game, so I would strongly recommend that is maybe a place to look. Cut 2 Vindicators, add 2 more units of Reavers. Let's fucking go.
Could be fun. Actually here, Bonzi Kitty Gaming, love the name, asked for my narrative. I am running Gravis Captain with heavy bolt rifle and 10 heavy intercessors. What detachment would you suggest? That is an Anvil Siege Force unit right there.
Anvil all day. Get it fall back and then stand still with heavy and crit 5s. It won't stick the ignore cover dude in there as well. You'll have the worst time.
Hear me out. Death Watch. Call it an Indomitor kill team. Way better.
Nah, that sounds boring. Anvil Siege Force.
Boo.
Yeah. All right. I can't find anything in here that is interesting question-wise because no one flagged them when people were talking. So
sick. That sounds good to me.
I guess I have.
Because it's 1:30 in the morning.
Yep. Let's rumble. Do I have to do the thingy? So you don't have to do it.
Thingy. Please, desperately save me.
All right, I will do the thingy, and I will save Innes from it. So, if you've been watching this long, then you should go support us on Patreon. If you happen to support us on the $15 tier on Patreon or YouTube, you get a fancy little tag that makes you part of the cult of the high five, which means that we will give you a crisp high five at events and often some random swag. I'm going to have, in fact, I think most of us will end up having a whole bunch of those coins, the stat check coins, because we took half of them and are giving them to...
jingling at tournaments. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Everyone loves swag, though.
The stat check man cometh. Ding, 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 ding.
All right. And also you happen to get your name in this thing and you get to put in a fun call out. If people continue editing it while I'm doing it, I am going to just freeze the sheet at the beginning of the show instead. So I want to give thanks to Christopher the Kid. The term kids table first came about in 1944 when families grew larger and larger in the U.S. and families frequently needed more than one table to host everyone during holiday gatherings. Irvine. Thank you, Willa Weeks. Thank you, Dan F. Thank you, Luke Dan F. McCarthy. Thank you, David Rounded GW Terrain Templates Clark. Thank you, Bra Knocking on NGL, but I'm not risen right now. No cap, just full Ohio, SMH my head, FRFR. Thank you, James H. Thank you, Colton Dan F. Miller. Thank you, Fungus. Thank you, John V8 Gang. If this is the Pickles 40K model, imagine how awesome the 30K model would be. Thank you, Cam F. Dan Morton, Hog Emoji. Thank you, Archon, 1 week closer to Jane'Zar and that Eldar Codex for Hall. Thank you, Josiah Gattle. Thank you, Tank Commander Frankie. Thank you, Isaac. Man, I sure do wish I had an elf army right now so I could copy Innes' elf list. Tarada. Thank you. We have been trying to reach you about your Rhino's extended warranty. Thank you, Thomas. I've ordered several Bluetooth speakers for my Emperor's Children for Koyan. Thank you. Fate dice are gone, he said, as he flipped 2 dice to 6s to hit 4 times on 2 D6 plus 6 Meltas. Thank you. Pickles' Pro Eldar Union. Thank you, Tom. Chicago Pizza is just a poorly made bread bowl. H. Thank you. Which will happen first? Me finishing one of my 3 work-in-progress factions or Super Heavy Walkers getting true line of sight at all times? The answer may surprise you. And thank you. Thanks for the stats.
Thanks for the stats, Jeremy. You're the best. I think that's all we have. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for episode 124, Key Performance Vindicators. I hope everybody's having a fantastic time with your Agile and Waterfall this week. And don't forget your Scrum. Good luck at any tournaments. Kick some ass. I have 3 weeks off from tournaments now. It's going to be fantastic. I'm playing some Magic this weekend. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah, dude.
All right, guys.
I'm hibernating.
You started a job on Monday. I think that's I think you get to. All right, guys. We shall catch you all next week. Have a good time. No, Nathan's not here, so that's it.